pros and cons, pros and cons. The world blames dad when it's really your mom. What's cracking? My name is Trevor Wesley. Oh, we're fixing the camera over there. I got my buddy Beard Dude. He's making his little adjustments. Today is another awesome day. It's funny how the only days that exist are the days that there are. Yesterday doesn't exist. Tomorrow doesn't exist. And I find myself being more at peace and able to take on life when I'm just present in the moment. Because that's all that's real. Everything else is just in my imagination. And before I really seek within myself and realized how I was raised, that so many things were imposed onto me, including my identity by either my parents or the world, I would live in my imagination. And I used to think, especially as an artist, because I started making music really subconsciously without even realizing. Of course I loved to make music, but it was an escape for me to get away from the dysfunction in my family and to be able to just I trained myself to drift off into my imagination and escape reality. And it wasn't until I really seek within myself and I analyzed what was imperfect about the way I was raised and the way I know my parents did their very best, and in a lot of ways they were awesome, but then I still had to look at it and see what was imperfect about it. And a lot of people think that they're not honoring their parents if they can confront them and tell them what was wrong. And I think that it's the opposite. I think that it's dishonorable to lie and act like everything is great. And because parents often will tell you or they'll make you feel like, especially mothers, they're going to make you feel like, I brought you into this world, I can take you out of here. If it wasn't for me, you wouldn't be anything. And I think that there's more honor in being able to be honest with your parents without being angry, because there's no honor in anger. But if you're able to confront the truth and see it, it's not my truth, it's not your truth, it's just the truth. When we can overcome our parents, then we can overcome anything else in life, especially in our relationships. Because I think especially as a man, you're raised by a woman. The first woman you know is your mother, and mothers are very strong-willed, and they impose themselves onto their sons and daughters. And for me, I realized that I had this emotional nature, and I used being an artist and making music and stuff like that as a scapegoat, as an excuse to be like, well, I'm an artist, and and it wasn't until I really confronted it and forgave and overcame that allowed me to be reborn into a new person, where I could not be afraid to speak up about things, not be afraid to be a leader in my own life, so that I can be an example for others. And I'm still growing in it, and it's awesome. So here we are. We got Beard Dude.
What's up, everybody? We got T-Warrior's man, after watching last night's episode, I had to get here early.
T-Warrior! I know, I was waiting for you to call in, bro.
Man, last night, if ever we needed you. No, but it was good. I mean, we tried to talk to some people, but I think last night was very informative. And it's nothing against the callers, but it's just another lesson, because I've been there too. If you're angry and emotional, you really don't want to have a discussion so much as you want to shout at the person and silence them. And you don't want to hear their side because you're so quick to respond. There's no true back and forth. So we saw that last night, and they're more than welcome to call back again today. We want to talk to people who have different opinions, but like we always say, just leave the anger at the door. Calm down, relax, and let's actually have a discussion.
Yeah, I think what triggered yesterday too is I posted one of my thoughts on Instagram, and a lot of people take it personal, like I'm betraying them personally, or I'm doing something to them. But I mean, I'm just really sharing my opinion, and my opinion is not out of spite or anger or hatred. It's out of love, and I wouldn't speak up and say what I thought was true if it wasn't coming from that place. And I noticed for myself that everything is being marketed, right? And people took what I said and misconstrued it, because the thing that Satan does is that he's not the creator, right? He cannot create, so all he can do is destroy and then recreate it in his image. And that's what a lot of people were doing. They're taking what I said, strawmanning and turning it around into something completely different, and then puking it back out you know, like trying to peer into my soul and tell me where, you know, how racist I am, my intentions are, when it really comes from love. And I know, because I noticed that in, you know, with like Yelp and Amazon and Uber Eats and everything like that, it's all about, you know, support black businesses. And of course, I'm all for businesses, especially black businesses, being supported. And a lot of people were trying to, you know, misconstrue what I said and say that I'm saying not to support black businesses, and that's false. What I'm saying is that you should not sell skin color. You should sell the product, and if the product is good, if the food is good, it'll sell itself. You know, it's not going to be like out of pity where I'm like, oh, I'm going to have to go eat at this restaurant or order from here. I'm going to get a free delivery fee because they're black. You know, to me that looks like it's racist, and I always look at the double standard of things and see that, well, what if it was a white person? What if it said, oh, support white-owned businesses and you get free delivery if you order from a white owner? To me, I'm just like, that's crazy, man. And people, just all hell broke loose. I got all kinds of messages from people that I forgot they even followed me. You know, like there's people that I've known in the industry and stuff like that who, you know, have kind of, I've always had this knowing that, you know, people watch from the sidelines because they secretly hate me. You know, they're haters. And they don't like or comment or anything like that. But as soon as they see something they disagree with and they have an opportunity to jump on it and show hatred and try to, you know, tell everybody how their exit of like, oh, I can no longer support you. It's funny because they never supported me to begin with. And, you know, I even got some messages from like blue checkmark celebrity people that I knew that I was like, I forgot you even followed me. But it's just funny what you can always tell people with anger because they pick and choose when to interact with you. You know, I didn't get any messages or interactions about anything else in my life over the 14 years I've been in the business. You know, I didn't get anything. I've actually, some of the people I've messaged and reached out to that I never got a response back from, but now they want to come and talk to me and say, you know, challenge my character.
I supported you for so long.
Right.
I mean, I never liked the single post you made. I never supported the music and the funny things you posted, but I supported you for so long.
Yeah, and I think what happened was somebody who has a decent following or something like reshared my post and basically sent the dogs. It was like, you know, show this guy some hate because I got like just all kinds of. I had to make my page private. I had to shut off the commenting on that post, and people were like, you know, you're a coward for that. But the reality is that I just, you know, you can't talk sense into people who are angry and that are committed to misunderstanding you, and that just want to come and, you know, be toxic and spew hate at you. So I had to do that because it's like, man, it's my page. I'm not trying to deal with those kinds of people. So hopefully it'll die down. I had, you know, since my page is private, I got like, since yesterday, I got like 300 or 400 requests to follow me, and I deleted them all because I don't know where they came from. I don't care. I'm not somebody who's trying to just get, you know, attention and be like, oh, cool, I'm gonna get followers. I can start some drama. It's not about that at all. Like I said, it's about love, man, and it's just about true equality in the lens I'm looking through, and there's a lot of people who agree and who you know, hear what I'm saying. Black, white, Asian, whatever they are. I mean, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it's the spirit we serve. So
that's it. Like Manny Smith says, haters gonna hate.
Exactly.
And Matt from Indiana says, he was like, but I was there every day hating.
Exactly.
It's funny how they swear they love you, and they can't do nothing but trash talk you, and they take it personal. You're not talking to them individually. You're not saying that I don't support your business.
Right.
You know, but they take it personal, and they say, you were talking to me, to us,
yeah.
all the blacks, and you can't speak for everybody. Just like if someone wants to criticize a white guy, they're not criticizing me. Or
right.
all white people.
And I think someone called yesterday saying like that, you know, that they were talking as though I said that I knew what it was like to be black. And I don't. I never have said that before. But I can gather my opinions about what it's like to be a human being, what it's like to be a man, what it's like to, when I talk to other people that are black or ethnicities and stuff. Just because you're black doesn't mean that you have to have a certain way of thinking and that blackness is a thought. You
right.
know, that's just, I know that for a fact, you know. And if I see two squirrels fighting outside, I know that it's wrong, whatever it is. You know, it's like I don't have to be a squirrel to see that whatever's going on. You know?
That's a way of shutting down the conversation. That's like women who can't settle down, can't get over their egos, and maybe they're in a bad marriage. They'll say, well, you don't know what it's like to be married because you're not married yet. Or you don't know what it's like to have kids, so you can't speak on it, even though I beat my kids and I destroy their soul. You don't need to. Was Jesus married? Did Jesus have a wife? Was Jesus black? Maybe, maybe not. I don't think he was, but it doesn't matter. The point is, that's a silly argument. That's a way of shutting down the conversation. You don't need to be anything else to observe what is right in front of you, because it's a spiritual battle. It's all about the soul. We all have a soul, and it came from one place, God.
And to touch on what he's saying about that soul is our true identity. We're brought into this world, and just like they did to my post and my intentions, they destroyed it. That when we come into this world, the world, our parents, they destroy that identity and they recreate us in its image. So there's a lot of people that are prideful of their culture, they're prideful of their skin, prideful of maybe their talent or whatever it is that they do, and they get their identity from the world, and it's really just their ego, gathering this shield to protect them from having to deal with whatever it is that their conflict they're having within themselves. Because it is a spiritual battle within ourselves, and if we can't acknowledge that and relax in it, then we'll never, tap into our true identity, which is God.
That's it. It needs to be overcome. You need to stop thinking with your skin. Observing statistics and seeing how certain demographics may be more prone to things does not mean that it is in the skin.
And it doesn't mean, and talking about those kind of things, doesn't mean that we're hating or anything either. We're trying to have a conversation, discussion, and see. And what's funny is that those that are willing to seek the truth and find it for themselves, they agree with what we talk about, and they understand it, because this is a spirit. Like the caller that called yesterday, they were quick to, make characterized, ideas about my character or whatever, and just list off these things about me. But then when we wanted to talk to them and actually, confront the conversation, we weren't allowed to, because it was just cut off, and we had to end the call.
Yeah, it's crazy. And one of our buddies posted it, Black Stepdad, thank you. But it's funny because you see it right there, and it was just even more plain to see that we let them say all their as many points as they can before we lose track of what the points are. You got to stop it somewhere so you can try to respond to some of the points. And the second we try to respond to it, you get shut down. They interrupt you, and then it's just they don't want to hear from you. And that's the difference. You don't have to agree, but if you can't sit there and be still and listen to the other side, then the problem is with you. It's with nobody else. It's with you.
Yeah. So if you want to call, 818-308-5559.
They're starting to attack photographers with why no black people in your pics. Yeah, it's and what I was telling Trevor today was that what the media has fed the black community and brown community and this liberal white community is that minorities are underrepresented. When you are a minority just by demographics, you will naturally be underrepresented across the board because there are less of you. So therefore, there will be less. If there's 10 people on a board of a company, it's highly unlikely that you would have all 10 people be black, unless it's a black-owned company and they hire only black people. But the United States is not majority black, nor is it majority Mexican or anything else. It is still majority white, and it has been for a long time. It was even more before 1965.
And there's an even bigger separation, because ever since they decided, we're not black, we're African American, they created a divide. Whoever was the one that started it, a divide, because now they're getting black people to identify as immigrants, right? As opposed to just being Americans, that we're all Americans. The last thing that these elite, deep state, higher up politicians want is for Americans to be united as Americans. And it's so apparent to me that that's what's going on is, and people overlook and fail to realize that these other countries that are our enemies are watching this all happen, and they see us as weak. We're all, burning our cities down. We're all fighting with each other. And it's only a matter of time that they're going to come and they're going to attack America and take advantage of that. So there's things to think about with that. And I think that they want, people to identify as African Americans instead of Americans, because they'll identify with immigrants and illegal immigrants, and that's the way the Democrats, they act like they care about, black people and minorities, but they don't. They only care about their votes. And if you go to any city that's ran by Democrats, it turns into an S-hole city, It's got the highest tax. I live in California. I grew up here, and I've watched it just go to hell. It's got the highest taxes. You know, the roads are crap. There's a gang of poverty. There's homeless people and drug addicts everywhere. You know, that they pass laws like that benefit people that are not Americans more than Americans. The homeless people have more freedoms than the citizens. It's pretty nuts, man.
We got Lucas on the phone. Lucas, how you doing, my friend?
Hey guys, oh dude, that is so freaking hilarious. Dang, I wanted to talk about more about Jesse Peterson's biblical question, but my dad's calling me right now, dude.
Oh.
And I need to answer. I'm sorry, man.
Go for it.
Bye. Sorry, thank you, man. But thank you for answering. Bye. So I'll call back to you. All right.
Okay. All right.
So one of the things, you know, like some people that were like, I've supported you for so long, or blah blah blah, and then they turn around and be like, you're just a decent, you know, a half good imitation singer of our culture, and you're a culture vulture, right? And it's so funny to me because it's like when they're your friend, or you quote your friend, they speak the world of you, right, to your face. They're going to say everything that sounds good, and it's all really ego fluffing, which was why now I don't really, like, people give me compliments, I let it go one in ear and out the other, and all glory to God, man. I'm not trying to absorb and get my head blown up. So as soon as they disagree with me, all of a sudden, their whole idea about me becomes this hateful, I'm going to try to hurt you approach, and, you know, now I'm a culture vulture. And I just find it funny because I've never operated from that kind of frequency where I kept score of culture stuff. But once they brought me to that frequency, I realized, wait a second, how am I a culture vulture because I celebrate a certain kind of music that represents an ethnicity or culture? When who invented the piano?
Good question. Google in your phone. Who invented the piano?
Yeah, find a picture of who invented the piano. Who invented the microphone?
Another good question.
Who invented sound recording in general?
Records, CDs.
Who invented, you know, if we're going to start thinking along those lines, it's like, I just don't understand what argument they're trying to bring to the table,
Yeah.
because it's like, at the end of the day, it's like everybody who is in America or everybody in the world is benefiting off of some sort of invention or something that was created by white people. And white people are hated nowadays, especially white Christian straight males.
Yeah, the phones that they typed on and sent all those hateful messages to this guy. Who invented that phone?
Are they culture vultures because they are using?
Yeah, or what about black girls who want straight hair and get straight weaves? Is that culture
or
vulture?
blonde,
Or
you know,
yeah,
like whatever.
that's
You
big
see-
in the community.
it's
Blonde hair.
But see, I don't think that way, and I'm only making these points because that's the frequency and the level that they're trying to bring me
Yeah, and
on.
it shows how silly it is when you start to think about, well, if we're gonna keep score,
Exactly.
and it's just about showing that's a silly argument, and don't get pulled into that. They want you to pull into that nonsense and then be like, oh yeah, you're right. You know, and blacks made soul music. I have no right to sing it. Don't fall for that.
No.
That's a female energy. That's not logical. Again, it's all about shutting down the conversation.
And it really stems just from hatred. They want to hurt you. Just like any other words people use to try to hurt any other person. If you're overweight, they're going to be like, oh, you're a fat ass. You know, they're going to call you names. They're going to try to assume they know what's important to you and then destroy it. And that's all they're doing. And luckily, I got the grace of law, baby Jesus God in my soul, and I am not phased, and I'm not moved. I used to be able to be moved by other people before. What they would say, you know, I didn't have any power. And now I realize that I still don't have power, but I get power from God. And I know what actual love is now. Love is not an emotional feeling that people make me feel, you know. And a lot of people in the world identify love as that, like, oh, I love you, you make me feel so good. And then they get into relationships that are all starting from the wrong place, and it's this emotional thing. And they're, you know, society is demonizing men and masculinity because men are a representation of God on earth. Men are logical, right? And men, if you're a man, right, you come from a woman, and that's true. And you're raised by a woman, and like I said, her feminine emotional nature is imposed onto you as a child, and then you grow up. And I realize now that part of becoming a man and entering manhood is overcoming that. and you know, you date women nowadays, and a lot of them want to be equal, right? And equal to them means that they want a man to have is a masculine side and a feminine side. They want the men to be able to be pulled into their emotional hell. And a real man is overcomes his emotions, overcomes his mother, comes into his manhood of his logic, and isn't operating from an emotional, sensitive place. And if he can do that, right, he has God's love, and he's able to get that from God, and he can actually love the hell out of her. He's able to pull her out of her emotions and pull her into his logic so that she can stop suffering within her emotions. Because if you're a man and you've dated, I'm sure you know that women all the time creates problems out of nowhere, and they bring you into it. And then you end up negotiating and talking and entertaining with it, trying to be like, what are we fighting about? What are we talking about?
Yeah, what the hell is going on?
What's going on, you know? And I realized too in my dating life, it's like those things need to be nipped at the bud, you know? And you gotta let them know and find the right woman that's able to trust you and know that you're like you have love and you're coming from the right place to be able to be like, hey, just shut up, just stop doing that.
Less yapping, more sandwiches. You know.
And you know, if you're sensitive and emotional, you could hear that and be triggered by it.
Wolf King dropped a comment.
What's up, Wolf King?
He said, they don't dislike us, they dislike the father role. They have been trained to hate the patriarch, and as long as they think that way, they will never respect someone who speaks on self-improvement.
Right, and accountability is number one in self-improvement.
Exactly.
And giving up that false identity that's your ego.
We got little Aiden in the chat. Aiden, we met her at church.
What's up,
Jen's
Aiden?
cousin. Thank you for joining. Jan, everybody's in the chat.
She said she liked my orange hair. Technically, it's gold, okay? Because if you ain't first, you're last.
We got
golden.
Adamant Mama Dane in the chat. He wants to know why I think he's acting like Mama.
Oh, what's up, Dane?
But you gotta suffer with that, Dane.
I haven't heard from you in a minute, bro.
T Warrior's in the chat. Schmitty's here.
Shitty. Super chats and never shitty. We got a little kitty in the chat, so you can't say Schmitty.
Scooch over. That's a new name.
He lives in the city.
You got way better hair than Hank.
I don't know about that.
I'm not sure why it's buffering, Black Toria. It could be that you have that Obama service. It seems okay over here so far.
Yeah. If there's any questions too, man, like we don't come on here and plan on what we're going to talk about, what I'm going to say. I didn't know I was going to say all that. And we're just riffing it. And it makes me think about how, like, in music, you know, I've always been the type of entertainer that I like to just hop on the stage and create magic in the present moment. And I think that's the key, man. That's one of the reasons why I'm attracted to Trump's character. Because Trump doesn't read from, you know, what are those things called?
Cue cards.
The Titantron?
Yeah, or the prompter, teleprompter.
The prompter, you know, he's quick on his feet, and he's present, and he's able to operate from within himself as opposed to planning. You know, there's a lot of politicians and stuff out there that you see that you could tell they're just robots that are they have this whole plan, and as soon as your plan doesn't go as planned, you crumble and you become, you know. So with that said, I think that I enjoy being in that present moment and being able to be on my feet, man, and just talk in the present and not plan. So if there's anything you guys want to, talk about, you want to call in, and we can talk about whatever it is, and it's all good.
Yeah, don't forget, please smash that like button.
Yeah, and share.
And hit the notification
I've lost 300 followers since that last post, so anything helps, you know. And it's not like I'm chasing followers for selfish reasons. I just really want to grow into giving a good message out there with the truth, and finding people that are like-minded that want to help, you know, put the world back together, since it's been so demoralized and destroyed. And I'm sure that if you're in this chat, for the most part, you can see what's going on in the world. Yeah. So if we can share it and get it out there, maybe there's someone else that we can bring in that will identify. I identify with the chat.
See, as a woman, everyone likes to start with that. Just say what you need to say. took a nap, so I should be here. So T, give me a few. My kids are wilding out. Caesar's in the chat. Caesar Solo.
Caesarius.
He is. He is. So, what was I gonna say? Oh, there was a crazy little incident that happened the other day, and it's a good example for white Americans to realize that, like Jesse says, you guys are under attack. If you are white, there's an army being built up against you in the media and on the streets. There was a white man who was armed by law. He was in a state where he could be armed, and they were there to try and protect some historical statues, which the government's just letting get destroyed by these monsters. And then the mob tried to attack him, a guy with a skateboard, and I used to skateboard, so that thing can cause damage. Tried to hit him with the metal trucks to his head, chased him.
Ouch!
And even one of the guys I follow freeze framed and found a shot showing that one of the Antifa guys that was chasing him as well also had a knife. So they're beating him, trying to stab him and kill him, saying, "I'm going to kill you." The guy pulls out his pistol and shoots through about 3 shots into one of the perpetrators. They all scatter, and he gets arrested for aggravated assault with a weapon. They come after him. The mayor of his town says, you know, it's a disgrace and how dare he. So they basically don't want you to defend yourself. They want you to let yourself get beat up by this mob and potentially killed or dismembered or paralyzed for life.
And see, these instances are proof that there is a deep state psyop that's going on, because anybody with any kind of common sense or logic knows that that's not right at all, and that, you know, they're stripping our freedoms to defend ourselves. That's why I want to get out of California. You know, I'm afraid. I'm not afraid, but I'm cautious and alert to know that if I go out on a walk or whatever, and a homeless guy or whoever it is wants to come out because they hate me for whatever reason. I've gotten threats on Instagram, all kinds of. I got voicemails on my phone yesterday. I'm like, how did you get my number? But if I get, you know, attacked and someone wants to hurt me and I defend myself, then not only do I have to worry about, like, you know, surviving the attack, but if I do, and I end up killing the other person or injuring them or whatever, I have to worry about being, you know, portrayed as, you know, it's their word against mine, and how do you prove it? You know,
There's a huge bias against white people. And look at all the protesters. So when these protesters go out, these Antifa types and BLM, when they go out and destroy statues, all the articles say, you know, protesters, you know, they're just positive descriptions of them gathering. When you see the white people come out and try to stop these destruction of the statues, it's always some negative article saying, you know, angry whites or white nationalists. You know, the media is controlled. The fake news media is the greatest enemy of the people. It was brainwashing. It's a living matrix. And if you don't think that they're trying to set up white people to be attacked, you got another thing coming, because it's already happening. So that's why you should live in a state where you could be armed if you're white, and I'd highly advise you go somewhere where you're around more white people, because you're just safer there. In LA, most people hate you.
And the honest truth for me, you know, I never saw through the lens that I see now like I do, because I was naive. I was the one of 3 white guys in the room singing, you know, soulful kind of music and stuff, and I always felt like I wanted to go out of my way to show that I'm a good person, that I'm not racist, and that I love black people. And for the longest time, like, I would put effort in, and to really wake up and see for myself that for the most part, not all but most, there's a resentment there that most black people have against white people. And I think that it's some kind of, like, you know, all the white musicians that I know, they're the same. They're still in that place where they're going to treat black people differently because they don't want to be called a racist. They're afraid deep down. That's why these white liberals are washing and kissing feet. And, you know, the most thing they're afraid of is being called a racist. And until I, like, really got to know myself and knew what I was and what I'm not, it eliminated that fear of being called a racist, because it's like, who I am is not dictated or determined by what people say I am. And, you know, when you're in that place of influence where other people can say something about you and question your own heart and your intentions, and you'll be able to be influenced by it, then that causes you to start questioning yourself. And that's how you go nuts. And I used to feel like I would go nuts, you know, when people would say something, especially in business. you know, people could say something about you, and you're like, well, maybe they're right. Maybe I'll consider that. Maybe I am like that, and then you start to go nuts, man. That's why it's better to know yourself.
Hold on for a second. It's we got Marty Whiteman. Marty Whiteman. What's up, Marty? Did you have a question for us tonight?
Well, I was gonna tell you that I got lost. I was lost for like 2 hours. It was amazing.
Did you find yourself?
My buddy he took me for a walk, and I went on this walk, and it was out of my neighborhood, and then I just got freaking lost. And he left me. He was with his son, and him and his son, they went home, and I'm just like, holy cow, I don't even know where the heck I'm at, you know. And so it was weird, man. It was a weird feeling to be lost. And but anyway, I just, you know, I was just calling in because I like you guys, and I like to hear what you have to say and everything like that. But that was just very strange to be lost like that. I feel like maybe I'm too old.
Too old for what?
Too old to like I'm going senile. You know what I mean? Like,
Did you see
like I'm losing my mind.
Well, no, I don't know. I mean, I've seen people lose their minds, but it's because they didn't overcome their ego. So they listen to that voice in their head till they're dead.
Yeah, I mean, I got a buddy of mine. He said that I think it's out in Seattle where that craziness is going on. He said he wants to go up there and shoot somebody in the face, and I'm like, man, I don't know. I'm like, man, dude, I don't think that's the right mental state to be in. But
no, it's not. That's exactly what you're not supposed to do. You're not supposed to operate from anger and go. You don't go looking for trouble. You be prepared. You stay still. You keep your heart still, and you wait for the revelation. You don't go out looking for it. You know, like some of those people who went out into the mobs when the riots were at their peak. You know, I understand it. You know, if it was their livelihood and their business. Some people did it the right way. Like there was these two based Italians that had their rifles. They didn't go out into the streets. They stayed inside their shop with their guns and stood there. Even when they broke their windows around them, they didn't fire a shot. They just waited to see if the mob would try to come in and attack them. And the mob didn't. They just shattered their windows and walked on. That's how you defend yourself. You don't use any force until it's absolutely necessary. Because you have to fight with honor. You cannot fight like an animal.
I agree with that, and you know, and when he told me that, you know, like I'm prepared, but when he told me that, I was just like, oh, dude, man, you're freaking, you need to calm down, man, because having that state of mind, that's like a Travis Bickle in Taxi Driver, and I'm just like,
you talking to
go
me?
ahead.
You talking to me? You talking to me?
Yeah. Yeah. Did you see when Travis Bickle talks to Peter Boyle?
No.
When he has that conversation with Peter Boyle?
I don't remember
And
that
he's
movie.
talking about how he's having some really bad thoughts, and Peter Boyle is basically telling him to calm down. Did you see that?
No, I don't remember the film.
Yeah, I mean, he's you know, this is when he's starting to lose it, and he talks to Peter Boyle, and he's like, man, I'm just having these thoughts, man. He goes, I'm seeing what's going on. I'm just having these thoughts, and Peter Boyle's just like, he just like tries to calm him down. He goes, you know, everybody has these problems, you know, and he's trying to calm him down, but yeah, I mean, like I said, I think that's might be where my buddy's headed, because, you know, he's talking about going out there and doing something bad, and
Well,
you know, and I'm
don't
telling
find
him,
yourself-
I told him, I said, relax, dude.
Don't find yourself going
Don't
out there
freaking-
with them, because that's exactly what Steven talked about a few streams ago, that he got into a scuffle because his buddy was angry and went to a riot and went to the protest and got into it. So if you do that, then you bring hell upon yourself and you deserve every beating you get. So don't do it.
Yeah, you're right, man. Yeah, I mean,
Otherwise, suffer and let them beat your butt.
I love listening to you guys. Go ahead.
Yeah. Otherwise, just suffer and let them beat you up, because you went about it the wrong way, so you're gonna reap what you sow.
Yes. I mean, I love listening to you guys because I don't know how to explain it, but you're relatively a mild type of show. You know, you're not like abrasive. Like a lot of these webcasts and stuff, they're very abrasive. I mean, they're purposely trying to ruffle feathers, and that's what I like about your show, is that you guys are just like, hey man, we're laid back, dude. That's, you know.
Hey man.
It's calm.
Hey man, we're just laid back.
We'll let people call in and ruffle our feathers, but they won't. And that's the thing that hopefully people will understand, is that it comes down to intentions. You know, if people are really want to understand, they want to listen, they want to discover ideas and hear perspectives, and they will. And those that just want to have anger and hatred, they will too. And you will be blocked.
Right. Yeah. I mean, like even yesterday, I couldn't get through, and I was being. I mean, I don't know if it was you guys, but I was being blocked somehow.
No,
I was trying.
You gotta get out of your head. You gotta get out of your head. It was the networks were down and it wasn't working because you ended up calling shortly after that. So don't overthink it, Marty. You're in your head too much.
Yeah, I mean, I did get through with my cell phone, but then a little bit later I tried to get through with my landline, and I could not get through at all.
That could be God just telling you that you gotta relax. He's saying, Marty, just sit still, relax in it.
It could be, man. I mean, like intervention, but I just like I said, I really love your show, and I don't want to tie up the lines or anything like that.
Worries,
I never want to tie up the lines. I always want to try to keep it short.
Thank you for calling in, Marty. We always appreciate it, man.
Okay, it's good talking to you guys.
God bless you, man. Hang out and we'll talk in the chat.
Okay.
Bye. All right. Let's see. T. Oh yeah, super chat from Andreas.
Oh, thank you, Andreas. I appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you, brother.
He's like a super chat sound.
You know, that's what I love about this how this just unfolded with fellowshipping with you guys, talking about
what
this stuff.
Super chats?
No, just talking to all these different people who most hateful people would say that you don't exist. They would say there's no way someone like Andreas, or Black Victoria would exist because they're black, so they would never agree with Trevor.
They're called Uncle Toms and Coons. They're casted out. Their black card is revoked. T-Warrior! I gotta change my sounds.
He black.
What's up, fellas?
What's up, bro? T?
Yeah. Not much, man. That chick was tripping yesterday, man.
Right? What? That was crazy.
Yeah.
You should have heard the voicemail I received from somebody that I was like, who is this? I don't even remember who. Apparently it's somebody I knew, but she was like, basically saying, oh, you know, let's see if you have the courage to say what you say on Instagram or on social media face to face. And she listed like 4 different people. She's like, meet us. She's like, we got guns too.
What? So they could jump you?
Exactly. I'm like, what is this, an ambush? She's like, well, I'm not trying to get violent or anything. I was like, okay.
Yeah, it's all he posts a simple picture of him with his gun, no message attached, and they're like, I saw the picture of the gun, brah. You know, it's like it's not directed towards you.
And if you follow my story and see everything I say, I don't ever promote violence or anything. And if you're smart and you can see the climate of the world right now, especially in LA, like you want to protect yourself, especially knowing that if you call the cops, they ain't coming. You know?
Yeah, because you're white, man. You know, a white dude with a gun means he wants to shoot the black man.
Right.
That's
You know
right.
what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So your brother with a gun is only being oppressed by
That's
the white
right.
man.
I got hit up from another friend of mine. I don't even know how much of a friend, really. I don't know what people really think of me anymore. But he's like, is everything okay? Like, you know, like I don't want you to hurt yourself or other people. Like
Beta.
exactly like oh thanks mom. Yeah,
Man,
I was
it
gonna
tripping
use
me
it
out
on myself. I was really down today, and I got a gun, man. Oh.
It's just funny, T. Like you said, like if you're white, they won't stand for you disagreeing. Like, get back in your place, white boy. You're supposed to lick our boots. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, man. And what makes it worse is all the people that are quickly cowering down. I mean, as soon as something happens, and if somebody white has the opportunity to stand up and take up for themselves, they just cower down. They cower down, and that emboldens the bullies, basically. You know, that just makes them say, oh, well, they back down from that. Well, let me give them something else, you know? It's crazy. Like the guy at the Wendy's. I mean, this dude, the dude was beating the cops down. Like, took the taser, aimed it at the cop, and they're still surprised that the dude got shot.
Exactly.
I mean,
I keep seeing that too, man. I keep seeing people defending him, but like that cop had no right, and it's like, dude, everybody in their right mind, like maybe I'm wrong. It's just the way I've always thought. It's like if you attack a police officer, that you're bringing on whatever comes your way.
What's wrong with you?
Especially steal their taser, and it's like,
what if
he was running away?
Yeah, what
he
if
was harmless?
What if he grabbed the service pistol? What if it was, obviously he just didn't care. He was grabbing whatever he can grab. What if he grabbed a pistol? Or what if that taser, you know, it has a projectile that goes into your skin? What if it shot him in the eye?
I've always grabbed.
You know, it's so crazy. They don't care anything about his wrongdoing. They just make up for it. Kind of like Officer Tatum said that the black community would sooner throw a party for a convict coming home than they would for a black man graduating from the police academy.
Yep. You see, again, my white brothers, you have mistaken what has happened. What was going on was my young brother was doing a sleep study and the effects of alcohol on the human body while sleeping in a drive-thru when the evil white police officer decided to interrupt his education by coming and accosting him. So when the young man stepped out of his vehicle, he decided to use his martial arts training to get physical exercise with the police officer. When he noticed that the police officer was using a taser, which is not involved in martial arts, he decided to remove said taser from the officer to avoid injury. But when he got up, he decided to commemorate a Ahmaud Arbery by jogging a little bit. He noticed that the cop sneezed. He turned around to say, bless you, but he also had the taser aimed in case there was somebody in the vicinity to harm the police officer. He was going to defend him.
I never thought of it that way.
Wow. Thank you, man. I feel so educated. You know what? We need to do better as white people. We need to do better. We need to learn what really happens when black people kill white people.
Thank you for educating me.
my brother.
He commemorated Ahmaud Arbery.
I saw something today that showed like your privilege is showing because you have to be educated about your privilege instead of experiencing not having it.
That's so silly, man. Like when I hear people say that, like it was a girl and on Jesse's show. She was one of these crazy protesters, whatever, and she was like, "I have to show that I have to use my privilege to help black people." And I'm thinking, like, what are you talking about? Like you're taking something that doesn't even exist and you're making it real. But it's insanity, man. You're telling me this girl is walking around believing that she has this, what, a superpower or something? What is it?
You can go on a web browser. Go to
Go ahead, T. Sorry.
/Trevor Wesley. I want to go to my Instagram post and read it to you and see how it occurs to you. Because I know that oh, it's private, huh?
Do you remember your login?
No.
Well, which one was it? Which post? Here.
It's my last post.
1 second, T. I'm gonna read it to you, and you.
Yeah, I want to hear what people think about what I posted because I took my time with it. I made sure that I came from the right place with it, and it was the truth. It was coming from a place of true equality. Yeah, and this is what I said. I said, since when was encouraging people to buy products or food based on the color of someone's skin equal or the right way? Create a useful product that becomes in demand naturally because the product is good. Never have I ever bought a product or ate food somewhere solely because of the skin color of the owner. No matter how you spin it, that's racist.
What's your take on that, T?
Bro,
As a black man in America.
Makes perfect sense, man. I've never once, just like you said, I've never once bought something based on somebody's race. That's
Right.
stupid. I'm gonna buy these shoes, man, because I'm pretty sure a white guy owns the company. Like, what? That doesn't make sense.
The only time I've ever
if
done anything slightly like that is when it was a friend, and I wanted to just support their business. You know, but it wouldn't be some random person. I'm like, oh well, they're black. I have to support them. It's out of pity.
Man, what's crazy is that black people are less likely to support what they call black businesses, which doesn't make sense to call it a black business. It's a business owned by a black person, but it's not a black business, you know. But black people are less likely to support black businesses. You know, a black guy opens up a store in the hood, it's probably going to be vandalized and it's not going to be supported. Who you think you are opening up over here? But you let an Indian dude or an Asian dude or anybody else open it up in that neighborhood, they'll get more support, even though they don't want the black folks in their store.
I mean, I would imagine they would want more hookups. You know, they wouldn't want to probably pay the full price. They'll be like, yo, you're the homie. Let me get that deal.
Yeah, even Black Tory said that.
Hookups.
It's so common that like blacks will try to hit up another black to get them to give them a deal. It's like if you really respect, like it's just like you said, they don't really love each other. They're addicted to this anger and this oppression narrative that they can use to excuse away any misfortune that befalls them.
And it's not all, because you know, speaking up about this kind of stuff, like, is leading me to people like UT and to all kinds of different people that not all black people think the same, but they are very tribal, and a lot do think that way, and it's been brainwashed into them.
So I was listening to what that lady said to you when she said, you have no right to tell black people how to feel about being black. And I'm like, first off, I didn't hear anything said about telling black people how to feel. And then she's telling you how you're supposed to think as a white man.
Right.
So she's doing what she's accusing you of doing.
Exactly.
That's what angry people do. They accuse you of what they're doing.
Yeah.
It's crazy,
I
bro.
mean, you could just hear it, man, like the anger that, you know, that type of thing is what you get a lot of in the black culture. You know, an angry woman teaching the daughters and the sons, oh, you know what? Black men are dogs. They're nothing but dogs. All men are dogs. You can do bad all by yourself. Yada, yada, yada. Oh, you're a black queen and all this. And yeah, you're a powerful black woman. And all they are is angry and loud. If you ever look at these videos, who do they have at the forefront? Always hollering and screaming. A loudmouth, angry black woman.
Exactly.
We don't know who this lady is, but as long as she's loudmouth and black, that's good enough for them.
Exactly.
And the woman has no good moral compass, no good common sense. Just all she has is anger and a loud mouth.
Why are you such a coon, man? Why are you so self-hating?
I wish somebody would come call me a coon.
I wish
I'll
you would.
make them cry after I'm done with them.
And the thing
Because,
about it
look,
is that when you say the truth, you know, people can hear it and they think that you're bashing or that you're hating or whatever. But like at the end of the day, it's like, what's being said that's not true? That's what matters. We just want to talk about the truth so that we can help people overcome, like, because all this stuff is stuff that I had to apply to my own life as a white man. You know, like about the family, about forgiveness, and about anger. That's the root for anybody.
It just sucks for me, dude, because now, like if I go to a gas station or McDonald's or something, I feel like I have to act a certain way so people will know I'm not that black dude that goes tearing up stuff, and you know I'm not some crazy militant. I'm just a regular American. You know what I mean?
I know exactly. I used to feel that same exact way, being a white guy that sings soul music, being the only one in the room that had to go out of my way to prove, hey man, I'm not, you know, what you think a white person is. You know?
Yeah, like Trevor brought up a good point that, you know, he had the same experience that I did, was that growing up around black people, it's okay for them to dog white people in front of you, But God help you if you try to criticize a black man in front of a group of other black people. It's just double standard, and yet they're supposed to be the victims. And it's amazing. Again, it's that anger. Because you're angry, you cannot see.
Yeah. Yeah, it's ridiculous, man. Like, all these people walking around, and they don't understand the idea that they're actually living in their imagination and in anger. And we're living in peace and in the truth. And so you have these two ideologies, one that doesn't even exist and one that is true and real. And so you see the actions, people who understand what truth is and what peace and what morality is, they live like that and they think like that, they act like that. But these people living in their imagination, I mean, for you to say that you have somebody holding you back and somebody's keeping you down and oppressed, and you have no proof of that. No proof. You ask them, who is the person holding you back? They'll never tell you a name. They'll probably get angry at you for asking them that. Where are the white people that are causing you misery? Because most of the people that cause you misery if you're black are black people.
Right. I got DM'd by, you know, somebody who's famous. I won't say his name, but he's living life well. He's an actor. He's got. I didn't even really open the message fully because I'm like, I don't need to read it. I already know it's going to be some hateful thing. But his life is way more extravagant than mine, and he has that mentality to think that he's oppressed. It's because I've seen the posts and I already know what that whole mentality is, and it's like it just blows my mind how blessed people can be and blessed and blind.
Right. You can't. They don't want it. They refuse to look at the actions, and that's why, you got to go hard at the root. The root is not racism. The root is anger. If you're angry, you will come up with any reason to excuse yourself and blame somebody else. And anger is rampant in the black community. It is destroying the black community, and it wasn't always like that. It didn't be that way. It wasn't that way before.
It's funny how if you disagree with the homosexual lifestyle, you're called a homophobe, right? And if let's say somebody says they think somebody don't like them because they're race, that's called racism, right?
Right.
But why are those things the two things people focus on? But so what is it called if I don't like a fat person? Is that fatism? Exactly. What if I don't like short people? Is that shortism? Like what?
That's a height supremacist and a fatophobe.
Yeah, it's either good or evil. It's either right or wrong. It's either hate or love. Trying to attach all these titles and names to it is pointless. But people do that so they can control. It's about having control.
And absolutely, man. What's crazy is you could think of like if a little black baby is born, right, and it has two parents, and then a little white baby is born who has a crackhead mom addicted to meth, who's more privileged?
The black baby.
Exactly. It's a matter of circumstance, and nobody wants to talk about the actual privilege of family. And there are privileges in the world, but it's not about skin color.
Yeah, like the
privilege is having a family. It's a bunch of broke down white people, a bunch of broke down everybody. I mean, it's not about race, man. It's about what you're born into, really. That has nothing to do with your race. If you're born into a broke down, beat up family, you're probably going to have that type of life,
There's this interesting stat, and I'd like to know what you think about it, and the first thing that comes to mind about what the reason is, and I try to bring this up to some people who doubt what the real root is. There's a fact that the highest earning black Americans show statistically higher rates of violence than the lowest earning whites.
Wow.
So it's like money's not an issue.
I didn't know that.
It's not the money. It's not the success. It's the character. It's the soul. Like you said, what kind of family are you born into? Are your parents feeding you weakness and telling you that you're a victim, and making you hate somebody else instead of teaching you how to overcome all things?
Yeah, it's crazy, man. You just imagine, and I always imagine the loudmouth mama. Well, you watch yourself when you go out there, Jamarcus, because them police is just trying to kill you, boy. You best to watch it. Now he's walking out here, no matter what he does, when he sees a cop, he's already on edge, because mama said pumped him up, telling him that the cops want to kill him. So when the cops do pull him over, now he don't know how to act, and he's getting riled up. Now the cop, he's riled up. Boom. We got another dead guy. You know, it's silly, man.
Super silly. What are your thoughts about what's happening with what I observe is this massive push in the media, and every time a white guy tries to stand up or defend himself because their whole history is being attacked, their statues, Jefferson,
Even the cartoons, the
Yeah,
American
everything.
cartoons are being taken down. It's like every which way. It's like destroying
Talking about like Paw Patrol.
everything.
And,
Elmer Fudd,
Yosemite Sam, Elmer Fudd.
any white statues, even they're destroying statues of abolitionists, guys who fought against slavery. They're destroying anything that looks white. Do you think that this is an attack on white people?
It's definitely an attack on white people. It's an attack on white people. It's an attack on men. An attack on Christianity, and I think it's very sickening. But the problem isn't so much the people that's trying to pull it off. It's the people that's capitulating to it. The people that are willingly capitulating to it. I mean, because nobody's fighting against it. When even our governor here in Texas, who recently, Jesse was talking about it earlier. How he was talking about how George Floyd and all this stuff, and it was wrong. But I mean, come on, be honest. The dude was a freaking criminal. How did he get into that situation? You know, but all these people who capitulate every time somebody's accused of being racist, instead of them defending themselves, they just bow down and back down.
Exactly.
You know, you can't even go on Netflix. On Netflix, they got a Black Lives Matter section.
That was the point I made with that post, and people were taking it as I was saying not to support black businesses, and I never said that at all. I was just pointing out that it's being marketed to buy products based off the color of someone's skin. Like you open up Netflix, Uber Eats, everything. It's like if I were black, I would be offended. It's like a slap in the face to be like, well, I know that. You can't have your own business and sell products on your own, so you're going to need our help to,
Right.
Say it's because you're black.
It implies that they're less than, that they're weaker, that they can't do for self, and they need some kind of special handout.
There was even a buddy of mine on there who is black, and he said the same thing, and he received hell. He said that everyone came on his page and called him a coon, all kinds of stuff, man.
Yeah, they have no love for black people because if you break ranks, they attack you just the same.
If you're angry and hateful, you love nobody. It doesn't matter what race you are.
Well, y'all knows we sure need some help because we's black, and we just can't do it by ourselves. We sure enough just need some help because, it's so hard for us out there. Every time I walk outside, I'm just a poor black man trying to make it. Lord. Come on, man. I'll tell you what. I heard y'all had a caller last. I think it was Lenitra. I think that was her name.
Oh, Janitria, yeah, from Texas.
And she said some lady tried to give her some money because she's black.
Yeah.
I wish somebody would try to give me some money. I'll milk it. You stupid enough to give me your money because I'm black. I'll take every dime you got. Be stupid like that. I'll take your credit card. Come on, give it to me because I'm black. Come on. I need it. Like, come on, man.
It'd be like, this isn't enough.
Silly.
You look at the $10 and be like, this isn't enough. I need reparations right now.
Yes, sister. See, you don't understand. The white man is holding me back. I need more to really solidify the degradation and solidification in the nation and the abbreviation that's happening in our nation. I don't know, man. These people, it's just sickening, and it's so fake.
Right. We had one guy last night in the chat, Steven, and it's funny because he admitted that he's like, I come from a good family. My parents are, I think he said, millionaires or very wealthy, and yet here he is trying to champion this oppressed black narrative, and it's like they all have the same talking points. It's because of a lack of generational wealth. It's because of systematic racism. It's because of white privilege and white silence, and it's like, or trauma from slavery. It's like, you're not traumatized from slavery. You're traumatized from your mama.
Yep. I mean, you hear all the time these stories. Even Ben Carson has a story about how him and his brother was raised by their mom, and they were raised in poverty. But how did he become this world-renowned neurosurgeon? How? It wasn't because, how come he wasn't held back by the white man?
That was too hot.
He started in poor, humble beginnings, but he worked his way up.
But
he didn't let no one stop him.
Exactly. What's crazy is that there's successful black people out there like that They are not telling, you know, the communities how they became successful and powerful. If they weren't oppressed and held back and were able to be successful and become millionaires and famous or whatever, like why would you give someone else different advice than what you took for yourself?
Yeah.
That's why I speak up about, you know, things, is because whatever I want for myself and I know to be true is what I want for other people. I'm not gonna go sell a dream to someone else that I have no experience in. You know, at the end of the day, you want to become powerful in your own life, accountable to yourself, and have your own business and do your own crap.
Yeah, you're gonna encounter evil people throughout your life, and if you buy into the excuses and blame them, you're never gonna learn how to overcome it. It's like you're expecting a bumpy free ride, and that's not life.
Like the guy, you see this stupid montage video. I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna get off because I know somebody else probably wants to call, but this stupid montage video with the celebrities. I will check the unfunny jokes and what's the guy's name from Breaking Bad?
Yeah, I saw that. I posted that. I couldn't believe it. It looks so inauthentic and fake.
Oh my gosh.
They're like, I take accountability for taking a blind eye. Basically, they were saying that racism happened in front of them and they didn't do anything about it. I don't resonate with that because I haven't ever had that happen to me where I saw that happen. And if I did, I would correct it just like any other evil, angry, hateful thing that anyone would do. You know?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's silly. But I love you guys, man. Y'all keep doing what you're doing. I'm going to get off this phone.
All right, bro.
I'll call again.
Thank
Much
you, T.
love, bro.
God bless you, man. Always a pleasure.
All right, God bless you.
Ladies and gentlemen,
T.
Mr. T. Warrior.
I mean, there's your proof right there, and I'm sure the people who called yesterday, the angry blacks, would say that he's a coon, you know. But like he said, say it to his face. Come tell him to his face and listen to him. He's just like you. He's no different. But because he disagrees. All right, so we got.
Martin Luther King said it's about character and morality and all the things that are spiritually within.
All right, we got Big Mama in the house, Dane.
Oh, what's up? What's up, bro?
Yo, what's up?
Hey, you have a really bad audio connection. Can
Horrible. It sounds nuts.
Yeah, it sounds really bad. Can you get close to your phone or get out of the echo area?
I think it's just an echo because I'm in my kitchen / living room.
No, it sounds horrible.
It sounds terrible.
It sounds like you're in the shower.
It's a little echoey, yeah. It's the best Wi-Fi I got. But I can move somewhere I think that would be better, but...
There's like a high-pitched like sound too, like a frequency that's like...
Just talk as loud as you can.
Yeah.
Louder.
I'm about to move.
Louder.
I'm about to move to a better spot.
Sounds like you went to a homeless tunnel and put it on speaker.
Yeah. Are you on speaker? That's a yes.
No. Oh wait. Hold on. I'm about to get to somewhere good. Hey, you don't got the international call though.
Yeah, we do.
What's up with that?
No, it's your phone, buddy. We had just Happy call from Australia, so it's not us. It's you.
Yeah, but she probably got that prepaid phone, man.
Nah. She managed to call from a cell phone. Don't blame other people.
I'm pretty sure.
You sound like a woman. I think we lost him. All right.
This is an angry contract. Everybody's racist, yeah.
Alrighty. Let's see what we missed in the chat. Queen Butterfly is in the chat.
Queen Butterfly.
Stephen Will. Lin Yen Chin.
Lin Yen Chin, thank you so much for entering the chat.
Skill says it. A lot of those celebs are probably cringing and embarrassed that they gotta go along to get along. All right, let's try this one more again.
Yo, I think it's
Hey,
better now.
you gotta talk louder.
I think this is better now.
Talk louder. You got a terrible high-pitched ringing sound.
Yeah. If I can hear that high pitch from here, I know everyone in the chat is been like.
Yeah. How bad is it in the chat, everybody? Is it piercing your ears?
What about now?
Way better.
Yeah.
Alright.
What's up?
What's cracking, bro?
What's
Yeah.
going on?
I think it was the headphones that I had connected because I got these fucking. I mean,
Watch
sorry.
the language.
They got these new headphones.
So
I
what's
got
up?
these headphones that were like, just chilling, man. I'm just chilling out here in, South America. I can't get back into the country unless I got like $4,000 to throw on a ticket.
Damn,
it's kinda
so
sucks.
when are you going to be able to come back?
Probably like September or maybe around there. It really depends. I don't know, man. It really depends on the airline, man, because like one ticket from South America to United States is like almost $4,000. One bag.
Nice.
How about you? What if you just take a bus all the way up?
No, you can't do that because of the quarantine.
You can't cross the borders?
No, it's quarantine. They shoot you in Guatemala. They got like freaking assault rifles right at the border. As soon as you try to cross the border, they're like, you know what I mean? When they're like assault rifles and stuff.
Amazing. Would you have a question for the chat or for us, Dane?
Question? Not really. But I just wanted to see what was up. You know what I mean? Just call in. I haven't been in the live streams often. Just I like to take little breaks here and there from social media and whatnot. So I just got back like 2 days ago or so. So I just wanted to see what was up, what's cracking. I know some crazy stuff is going on in the States. I've been seeing on YouTube and on social media or whatever, which been tripping me out. I'm like, wow, man. So I just wanted to see what was up, I see that Trevor's got like a freaking Smith & Wesson loading that thing on camera. Like it's a new toy or something, I don't know.
We got it right here.
You gotta be ready.
People, and a lot of people see it, they're like, oh no, it's a symbol of hate. No, it's a symbol of being smart and knowing that evil exists all around, and that if people want to try to attack you, you could prepare and protect yourself.
But is that just for cameras, or is that just for like you just did it because of timing? Or,
What do you mean?
Like the exact moment when you play with it, is it like you just do that for the cameras, or you do that because that's just like the timing, or what?
I don't understand. Did what for the cameras?
Play with your toy. You know what I mean?
What are
Like
you
load the
talking
gun or whatever.
What's your question?
Yeah, load the gun. Load your pistol. That's the question. Like play with your toy. You know
Oh,
what I mean?
because it's fun to load revolvers. You get to take them out and put it back in.
Yeah.
You get acclimated with it so that it becomes natural to you. And at the end of the day, I want to encourage people to do the same thing and protect themselves, because we're not going to be able to rely on the police.
Right on. I'm just asking, be like, hey, what would you mean? What does that mean? I don't understand. I'm just asking,
Don't be so sensitive.
No, I just use a funny voice when I reiterate like the joke. But I'm just saying, like, I just didn't understand, you know what I mean? I was like, when I saw that at first, I didn't think it was like hate aggression or anything like that. I was just like, why? Is that for like the cameras? Is that a part of the show? Or is it like just the timing? Like maybe that was the only time around, his free time or
I
whatever
think
that he had.
you have too many thoughts about it. It just means nothing. Just like grabbing a spoon or playing with a knife. It's just
Well,
nothing.
like I said, I want to show people that they too should get one too, and protect yourselves. If I didn't show it,
I understand it.
if I didn't show it, then people would know. I'm not trying to. It's also not a toy. I wouldn't think of it as a toy for sure.
No, I understand. I mean, that's just the words that I used, and like that's the way that I phrased it. I mean, I don't really have any too many thoughts about it. I was just trying to explain the position that I was in. But besides that, I just wanted to know like what was going on. You know what I mean? Like what's happening? You know, like I'm not in the United States at the moment. You know, I'm in South America, so I was like,
Are you allowed to be?
I was gonna ask like. You know,
are you allowed to be armed there? Can you get a weapon gun out there?
Only as a Peruvian citizen, yeah.
Are you a Peruvian citizen?
Nah.
He's screwed.
Well, you might just end up becoming
I
one.
admit it. I know. I'm in a bad situation.
Well, who knows? You might be where exactly you need to be.
I do honestly think that. I'm not gonna go into. You know, I don't want to go into the specifics of that because it's. You know, it's. I mean, it's not too personal, but it's a little. You know, beyond the discussion or whatever.
What's
But I
personal?
do absolutely think that everything has a timing and a place, especially in the aspect of the one true God, which is the Christian God. Yeah, I do believe that.
I didn't follow you. You believe what?
I said I do believe that everything has a time.
Yeah.
I do believe everything has a timing.
Yes, sir. Yeah. I mean, sometimes it's you never know. It could be you know you're there because you're there for a reason. You got stuck there for a reason. You know, maybe you need to get closer to your father and pick up more of his nature and squeeze every little last drop of mama spirit out of your body.
I agree with that, bro. I 100%. I agree with that, man. Because ever since I've been out here, I haven't seen my father in about maybe 4 years. I think around that, probably about 4 years or so. And maybe 3 years, 3.5 years, around 4 years, you know, more or less, or whatever. And, you know, it's been really great since I've been with my father, man. And, like, I really do see when you know, because it's like with fathers, you know what's crazy, man, is that I've noticed with fathers is, like, you can go a whole day with just saying a few words. You know what I mean? Just, like, in the morning, you say, like, a few words, and then the whole day goes by, and then at nighttime you say goodnight, basically, and then that's it. And then your mother nature, or whatever, your female spirit, it feels like insecure. You're like, why didn't he talk to me more? Like,
Yeah.
oh, I wish this and that, you know, whatever. And it's like, no, that's all you needed, just those few words. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if you guys hear what I'm saying, but
No,
it's
I know what you're saying. It's exactly this. It's like the time doesn't exist. Time doesn't create. The only thing, like, you know, with that spirit, if you get in your imagination and create reasons of why you haven't heard from somebody or whatever, that's definitely not a masculine trait.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Because it's like, I'll go like a whole day with just saying like 2 words with my dad. And then like some, you know, every, you know, like at the end of the day, I can kind of like, I'm, you know, like insecure, like honestly, yeah, like I get insecure about it. I'm like, man, like my dad didn't talk to me that much or this, and I get like in my head about it. But then like later I'll realize I'm like, no, that's all my dad needed to say. But like sometimes, man, it's like, for example, I know this is a little personal. I hope you guys don't mind, but it's like at lunch, I was eating my food, right? And this is like the first time my dad spoke to me in the whole day. I was eating my lunch and I had one hand on my lap and the other hand, you know, like with, you know, with my spoon, eating the food, whatever. And my dad looks to me, right? Because he's in the kitchen. He looks to me and he's like, why are you eating with one hand under the table? What the fuck?
Hey, come on, man.
I'm sorry, what the F? What the F? And
Dude, you're gonna get us demonetized.
like-
Yeah, you not
That's
sorry.
the last
bro.
time, bro.
Yeah.
You gotta watch it. You gotta watch the language.
yeah, sorry about that. What are the limitations, just so I get it out of the way? Is
No
it like,
cussing.
Yeah,
That's the limit.
Yeah, don't cuss. Because we also got kids that are
I mean, I
that
hear
tune in
Trevor
sometimes.
say the B word.
We
I
never
hear
know
Trevor
who's
say the
watching.
B word kind of often.
Yeah,
So I
but
was like, what are the
Dane,
limitations?
come on, man. Don't be mama about it. You know the rules. Don't cuss.
Yeah. I'm asking what are the rules? It's like no cussing, like from the H word to
Just don't
Z
cuss.
or
Yeah, I
what?
think you got common sense, bro, not
Yeah.
to drop F-bombs
Come on.
on the chat when we ask.
You know exactly which ones you shouldn't be saying.
No, I mean, yeah, I got common sense. I'm just saying because the host does it, so I'm like, well, is it the host can do it? I can't do it.
No,
Like,
you
what's
can't
the-
do it. You can't.
So the host can do it. I can't do it.
You
I'm
can't
just
do
making
it.
it clear.
No,
So the host can do it.
You
I
cannot
can't
do it.
This guy, it's all ego, bro.
Bro,
You're
don't-
trying to
don't you
like
see how-
challenge, and it's like if you would go to someone else's house and then try and tell them the rules of their house. Like, this is my channel,
No,
this is my
I'm
live
not-
stream,
Yeah.
and you're having like
I'm not telling.
you're not really talking because you wanna like grow, or you wanna like talk about stuff that's real. It sounds like you wanna have like an ego fest, like you wanna hear yourself.
Well, no, I called in to ask. I mean, you guys said you guys have anything to ask, anything to talk about, and that's what I'm doing. If you guys don't want to hear it, I mean, like, I'll go. That's cool.
no, don't switch it up, Dane. It's just like we've told you before, man. You gotta overcome some things. You don't come for fellowship. You come to hear yourself troll. You like to troll. You don't really like to fellowship so much.
Well, I'm fellowshipping right now. I mean, I'm talking about am I not fellowshipping or what?
Don't divert from it. You know exactly
So,
what we're
yeah,
referring to.
so you told a long story about how your dad saw you eating with one hand under the table. Then what?
Right. Before then, when, I obviously I can't cuss, so I won't. I mean, obviously. But my dad said, what the F? You know what I mean? Like, why are you eating, with the one hand under the table, one hand on the, whatever. I really didn't say anything. I was like, okay, well, I was like, oh, all right. I mean, I didn't say anything. I just kind of looked at him. I said, oh, I don't know. And then he just kind of like, he just kind of shook his head and moved on or whatever, And that kind of got me, you know what I mean? And later in the day, because I was early in the day, and I was thinking about that, and I was like, is that, I was like, is that normal that a father can just say one thing in a day, like, and you want more? Like, what? I know that's probably the female spirit, but like, what is that? You know what I'm saying? It's like I want more, but it's like I don't get more. You know what I mean? Or sometimes I get more, or sometimes I get less.
You do have to.
Because with my father, go on. Sorry, what'd you say?
The truth is, Dane, and like Trevor's tried telling you, and I've tried telling you in the past, you haven't overcome things yet, and you may have forgiven your mother. I don't know if you did, but you're still wrestling with that female issue of trying to control people, situations. You have an instigator spirit, not so much of a calming force to you. There's a way to be humorous from love, and people can feel it, but you should be able to see how the chat responds to your energy and how the majority of them are trying to correct you, as we just did now. So you should get to know yourself, because there is still quite a bit of mama left in there. And I say that from the bottom of my heart, man.
Yeah, no, I absolutely feel that. I mean, I never said a single time that I don't have some issues that I need to work on. We're all human, like, you know what I'm saying? I'm pretty, 100% sure everybody in the chat, including you two, got your own things you're working on, unless you're perfect. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I 100% agree with y'all.
Oh, Lord. Suffer, Dane. Suffer.
I mean, that's what I'm doing. I actually talked to Jesse not too long ago about a lot of the stuff, and we were fellowshipping and stuff like that, and it took me a while because of the international thing. I had an email, and it took a while, but I was able to get through, and it was actually kind of extraordinary when I was talking to Jesse about it, because I mentioned, the bros and cons, or the bond bros as it was originally called, and You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all, you know, the little group or whatever. And he told me flat out, he said, those are the weirdos. He said, those are the weirdos. Don't really get too involved with those people because they will affect your perspective of what Bond and what I'm is really about.
So why
And
didn't
that's
you?
literally what he told me.
So why are you call? Why are you even
Exactly.
here watching it,
Why
bro?
didn't you take his advice? Then?
Yeah, just don't watch the show because what you're doing now is you're being very female and trying to say, well, since Jesse said this,
I hung out with Jesse.
Yeah.
And he said this.
we love you, Dane, but bro, come on, you gotta see yourself.
Well, no, he didn't say don't affiliate with those people. He said just don't get, you know, too emotional about it. He said, you know, look at it from a perspective of
That is not what you just said. You
You know
said a bunch
what
of
I'm saying?
weirdos.
Yeah. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, thanks
bro.
for
You know,
calling, Dane.
like,
It's great. It's great. It's
Yeah.
great hearing from you, bud. Thanks for calling.
It's just funny, man. It's like exactly like what a girl would do. She's gonna like come at you and try and be like, hey, like she's helping you.
Yeah,
But then she's really just trying to
it's just an
control
underhanded.
you. It's like it's manipulative.
That's that
and-
female spirit. You gotta shut it down and don't deal with it. And I love you, man,
Exactly.
but you're being a female right now, and it's the same issue we've all had, and I wish you well.
It's like actually, I was sitting down at lunch with Jesse.
Yeah, and he said,
Is that-
you guys are a bunch of weirdos.
Yeah, I
Not
don't
to
know.
listen to him, so I'm just here listening to you. Oh, Lord. Like Schmitty said, another riveting call from Brother Dane. And if anyone feels weird about it, like you feel like don't jump on him. Unfortunately, this is what you have to do in the real world. You don't put up with that spirit. If you're gonna help him, you be honest, and you shut it down. You don't entertain it. That would have gone on all night, in circles, just like you did with your girlfriend. You don't do that. Nip it in the bud. Lynn Chan sent a massive super chat, by the way.
Thank you, Lucia. Thank you so much, Vincent, for your super chat.
So caller was eating with one hand under the table. Father asked why, and a light bulb went off in the caller's head. Okay, Queen Butterfly. Amazing. Let's see. Oh, Mr. Bang.
Manny.
What's going on, Manny?
Hey, what's up? What's going on, guys?
Nothing much. How you doing?
This is our homie
I'm
Emmanuel. What's the word, bro?
Then I was just listening to that caller. Man, he's something else.
Sorry, can you speak up? I can't hear you.
It's a little low.
I was saying that. I was listening to the caller. He's something else.
Oh yeah, what'd you think? What's your take on that?
I don't know. It like I said, it's kind of like he sounded like he kind of full of himself, and like he just noticed the littlest things. Like that story was too funny. It was like hand under the table, and his dad said something. I'm like, what?
Thank you. And then the way he brings up, so his counter to us observing that he's being, in his feelings, is to bring up a story. He's claiming that Jesse said we're a bunch of weirdos and don't listen to them. He specifically asked about us and advice on how to deal with this show. It's just like a woman to try and come up with some kind of backhanded compliment.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like it's just so many strange people out there, And it's like a lot of people don't know what they're doing, and they're just doing it,
No, for sure, man. And looking back and reflecting on, in the music industry and networking and stuff like that, there's so many people in the industry that smile in your face, they act like they're your friend, they're agreeable, and and now I can really see and discern that when people are like that, and I know to just make that left. And I don't hate or resent, but I can identify who's on that path that I want to surround myself with, because I know that I'm just a product of my influences. So if I acknowledge that I can identify those influences, then I want to become greater. So I'm gonna make sure I'm surrounded by the right influences.
And yeah, and that's what I was telling my wife about that. 'Cause I'm like, I feel like you just be around people. You know how you just put that fake laugh on. That was before you lost the anger. It's like you were around people and you just coming up with these little small talks, saying all these little things. It just didn't make sense. It was like just being fake around people.
Right.
And I was like, I just don't like. I'm done with that. There's no point in being fake anymore, because it's living. Being fake just is like living a lie.
Yeah.
Exactly. You don't gain anything by entertaining the ego. And the world is gonna, of course, they're gonna call you harsh and you're being mean, but that's that same spirit trying to pull you in, and it'll work through anyone around you. You know, you gotta be firm and final. That's it. You know, God doesn't play around with the devil.
Yeah, because that was the one thing I was like thinking about. You know, you look at all these people that make all these posts, and they say all these mean things, but they don't know that they're mean. You know, they're like possessed by Satan. You know, I'm just trying to tell people, like, you know, Satan is trying to deceive you. Like, all these things you're looking at is probably fake. You know what I'm saying? And nobody sees it. I'm just trying to understand that, like, all these spells everywhere. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Because you got all the experts, the leaders, all these people got all these voices. They always got something to say about the subject. And the black people doing it, and the liberals, you know, all these people just feeding into it, you know.
So, Manny, as a black man, right? You're black, right?
As a black man.
But
What is your take on what Trevor's post was about referring to this massive corporate campaign to push black-owned businesses simply because they're black-owned, just selling skin color? What's your take on that?
let me see. Because even when I think about that, when they say black-owned, it's like most of the businesses, I don't really care about it. It's like it's nice to be black-owned and all that, but it's like I wouldn't just go only black-owned, because on top of that, it could be more expensive, and also the quality could be less than. It just depends. Because a lot of people just kind of get into the business, like, okay, let me just do this. And that was like the video you sent me, Richard.
Right,
the one with
the pastor?
Pastor. Yeah, it was like,
What's wrong with you?
black people. But it was like how black people built something when it was on a white man's land. Because it was like white people came in and helped them out. And that's basically what happened. And I'm understanding that for myself.
Well,
So like with the black-owned business,
yeah.
I just say I'll pass on that.
So a little louder, Manny.
I said with black-owned businesses, it's like I'm like in between because I really don't care. But on top of that, they're using it as a movement, though, and
Right.
that's the problem.
Do you think it's right?
When they connect it,
Do you think it's
yeah,
right
once
for
they connect
them?
it to Black Lives Matter, it's bad.
Do you think it would be weird if on Amazon and Netflix and Uber Eats and stuff it said support white businesses, and that if you'll get a free delivery if you order from a white-owned food shop? Would that be weird?
Yeah, it'll be weird in the eyes of the public, but it's like if we would have saw that, it's like, oh, black people do it, you know, and I feel like it should be okay even if black people do it.
That's what I'm saying is that it's the double standard of it's all in the name of equality, right? And then but there's certain things that are happening where, you know, white people couldn't do that or any other, if they're like Asian businesses. It's just weird because I personally I don't buy or shop or eat at places based off of skin color. I go because either the food's good or it's a necessity that I need. Like if I need to buy a microphone, I'm not going to be like, all right, I'm going to look up what kind of microphone I need and the best microphone to use. I'm not going to be like, well, I need to buy it from an Asian guy. You know?
Yeah.
That's where I come from.
But then on top of that, think about it. You're being mindful of what you're going to get. And it's like we should be wary of our thoughts. And it's like you're utilizing your thoughts to buy something. When, you know, our thoughts can deceive us.
I think I missed the last thing you
What
said.
was that last part, Manny?
I was saying that our thoughts can deceive us. Because it's like you're dependent on the thought.
Thoughts deceive us every time, I feel like.
Yeah, they never help.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The one thing I was gonna say is that, you know, this Black Lives Matter thing shifted to trans Black Lives Matter. I'm thinking to myself, like, I don't give a damn about them. I don't give a damn about Black lives either. It's like, really, I don't care about what's going on with people's lives. If they want to follow Satan, then that's on them. You know?
Exactly.
The universe says no lives matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
And I
know, it's
believe
like,
that too. And that was church too, because when you said all lives don't matter, I was like, shit, that makes a lot of sense.
It makes the most sense, yeah. It's all ego, like,
it's like
just not, like of ourselves we could do nothing, of ourselves we know nothing. We are nothing. We don't create. We didn't make any of this. We're just vessels. We either let love work through us or hate. So we shouldn't hold on to any self-importance at all.
Yeah, and that's what I've been telling people. It's like, you know, we're a spirit first. The flesh don't mean nothing. It's like spiritually we should be able to be with God, be in tune with Him. But a lot of people don't do that. They're just so worldly. You see how they attach to other things instead of go back to God.
Yeah, like someone Someone said in the chat. I like the way she said it. Dark Side of the Bear. I think it's a girl. Said everyone knows that it's a show of solidarity for BLM. That's exactly what they're using. They're trying to drive this movement to destroy America by having all these corporations which don't give a damn about America push this whole Black Lives Matter, support black businesses, give preferential treatment to a black business by taking away fees and cost. That's all drive to push this wedge between Americans.
Yeah, and that's what I was kind of thinking about. It's like, you think about all this money that they're donating to Black Lives Matter, I'm thinking to myself, and then even when they called out the website, for it's going straight into the basically DNC pockets, and I'm thinking about it, that's already a scam. If you're saying to donate money to BLM, and it's going straight to the DNC, it's already sketchy.
Right. If you go to the website or whatever, it all goes to the Democratic Party. There's nothing that goes towards actual black communities or black people. It's insane, bro.
Yeah, and that's huge news, and nobody's talking about it. There's so much big news coming out, and nobody's talking about it.
Because very few people are actually doing the research and looking and digging into seeing certain things. They're just seduced by the influencers that they admire, and so when someone else says it, then they just parrot what they say. They're not thinking for themselves.
Yeah, it's a collective thought. That's why I kind of see it. It's like it's so collective because it's like everybody used the same lines. Like you can't go to a candy store. Like those are the ones that kind of just throw me off. But you can't jog. And they always base it off of one situation. So it's not about people they know. It's always the national people that's making headlines.
For sure, man.
Exactly.
So it's like, even if you can ask the right person, listen, do you know somebody personally who was shot by a cop?
No.
No,
not at all.
Just like I don't know somebody personally who has COVID-19.
Oh, me either. I just know it just because of some other people. From a friend.
Yeah, well, actually, I take it back. I know one guy, but he was robbing a Gelson supermarket. He's a childhood friend I grew up with, and we lost touch. And when I was in college, he got into drugs and messing around, robbed the Gelsons, and an off-duty cop with his service pistol shot him in the shoulder, and they put him away for about 15 years. He just got out. God bless him.
Dang. That's crazy.
But that's about it. Yeah, that's the only one I can think of.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Cause I don't. It's like a lot of people don't know the black lives that were killed by cops. It's mostly the white people that's dying. It's like you look at the stats. There's a lot of white people dying, and nobody's talking about it. But it's all about the black lives because it's like, oh, we're suppressed, and they keep talking about 400 years. I'm like, bro, you only been here for like 30 years.
Well, it's a you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. Because saying the whole phrase "Black Lives Matter" insinuates that they don't matter, and that if you say all lives matter, like anything else matters, and it's going against Black Lives Matter. So it's like you're screwed.
Yeah. Okay. Look, let me tell y'all this. So what's happening is that it started off as Black Lives Matter, then it shifted to Black Trans Lives Matter.
I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, you haven't seen that. It shifted again. So it shifted to, what was that? That's basically Black Women Matters. Because, it started with the conversations of abuse, sex abuse. It could be the minor thing. This is like consensual sex. And then they'll say that's rape. It's really weird. And then it shifted again. Now it's shifting to the other races that hate black people. So there was this video I saw with this Mexican lady talking about kill them all like black people.
Wow.
So there's just too many shifts within this movement. You know, it's getting crazy how it went from BLM to trans to women being quote unquote abused. And then next, you know, what's next? I mean, that's what I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah, it never ends, and we just recently had some more bad news for the country, which is the Supreme Court now is classifying LGBT gender identity under civil rights protection. So the only person who's not protected are straight, white, Christian men and women. And every other class now, you cannot fire somebody. You can hire a guy and they can show up the next week wearing a dress, even though you know that's not what you hired, and you can't fire him without facing a civil rights lawsuit.
Yeah, that's so stupid.
Yeah.
That's dumb. And then then you can, those people can go to their job and start something. They can make it all up, just like the bakery thing.
Exactly.
It's like they knew for a fact they didn't have to do it there. It's like, why would you force yourself to force them to make a cake for you?
Yeah, there was I think they said there was over 200 bakeries in the area. It was a setup. They went to him specifically because he was vocal about his Christian beliefs, and they wanted to make it an uproar. It was all a setup. You know, you can go to any other bakery, but you chose the one guy who told you he's a Christian. He will not make those cakes.
And that's why the Constitution, the way America's already set up, is for everybody. So they're complicating things. If you want to you go somewhere else. It's like you don't have to force somebody to do business with you. It's like saying, like, oh, this person, I have to force this person to make me do business with them with music. It's like, no, if you don't like my music, or if I don't want to create a song for you, I don't have to. I'm not going to be forced into it.
Yeah, that's what it is now. They want to force everybody to do something.
Yeah, I think
It's like
anyone should have the right to hire
now.
whoever they want. Any business, all these extra protections, like Trevor said, it complicates the issue. The Constitution is very clear. We go by that. We have all the freedoms we need. Other than that, if you want to run a business and own a race,
Amazon does it. They don't hire black people. Because Amazon is mostly white, for real. So I don't think I've seen like black people in charge. But now that's the controversy now. So it's like, oh, Amazon's not being diverse. They only got white people. It's like you just gonna find something out of nowhere.
yeah, like someone just said, Skills Carmite in the chat said, blacks, Korean, Mexicans, they can all post signs that say we have the right to refuse service to anyone. But whites? Nope.
Yeah, that's disrespectful. And like y'all was saying, like it's like I'm an American before I can go next to being black. So it's Americans first and then black. That's the second thing because we just have to focus on Americans. And
Exactly.
a lot of people don't do that.
I noticed that anything that's like, spoken about white people, a lot of things people say is, well, that's a given. Like every other day that's not Black History is white history.
By default.
By default, like, well, that's a given.
Or we can't support white businesses publicly because, hey, it is a given.
That's my point. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's crazy. And that makes sense because it's like, because you have a Latin month, Asian month, and you don't have a white month. Like, they have one for everybody else for white people.
Yeah. That's why, I'm a fan. I want everyone to identify as Americans, and we all celebrate American history together.
That's right.
It's not about, dividing it up and putting these labels. It's just,
So who's better than the next one? Because it's not even about that.
it becomes a competition of who's, it's my turn.
Yeah, Trevor had brought up this Morgan Freeman interview where they asked him about like Black History Month and racism, and he was like, "I don't want a month." He's like, "Don't relegate it to 1 month. It's Black history is American history. Just leave it alone." And then he asked him, "Well, what about racism? How do you end racism?" And he said, "Just stop talking about it."
Yeah. Hey, but the funny thing about that interview is he asked him, he said, "You white? Do you want to write History Month?" He was like, I'm Jewish.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
oh, yeah.
He's like, whoa, I'm not white. I'm not white.
And yeah, so yesterday we had callers saying that, because I brought up the fact that, well, if you're going to be mad at someone for slavery, you should be mad at Jews, even though it's wrong to be mad, period. But if you're going to be mad at somebody, they were the majority slave owners and owned the slave trade. And one of the girls' response was, well, we know the difference between Jewish and white. I was like, well, if you do, then why are you so mad at white people? It's disproportionate.
No, but it said from the outside looking in, Jewish people are white people.
Yeah, they're not.
And I had to say that Jewish people do not claim themselves to be white. They go out of their way to let you know they're not white people.
Exactly. They're cool with the blacks. They love to say, we're cool with the blacks.
Yeah, they cool with the blacks. Yeah, and that's how I was telling my wife that. And she was like, she said that ain't true. After I showed her that clip, she was like, oh. It's crazy how, like, he said, you're white, you in white history month. He's like, I'm Jewish. It's that story right there. They already tell the story for itself.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get their thing back. Our light, the power went out.
Yeah, it was
Our
tripping.
light's regular now. My computer had to restart.
But yeah, it's just crazy. People would just look into history and really see what really happened, because everything's a lie. And that's when you wake up, you start to realize that everything got turned on its head. The devil has taken truth and put it upside down. And basically every narrative that you were sold as a kid is 9 times out of 10 wrong, if not 10 times out of 10.
And that's why I'm not like, angry or frustrated with people. I recognize that they've been deceived. And all I can be is thankful that I can see clearly, even though they think I'm nuts and whatever it is. But at the end of the day, I'm not feeling any type of way about anybody. I don't hate anyone. All the friends that I've lost, the so-called friends, they lost me, or I lost them. They didn't lose me. I never, hated them or cut them off, but it's all good.
Yeah, but the excuse out here is like, oh, that's dissidence between the church and the state. And I was like digging deep into that, because I'm thinking to myself, like, my value is based on the church, like of being a Christian. So I'd rather have people that have the same values as me. I'm not going to vote for someone that's going to sit there and say, oh, yeah, we murder babies. I'm not going to vote for you.
Right.
And it's like a lot of people don't see the values in people.
Right, and also, like, with the whole COVID thing, that they were trying to tell you what's essential or not, and that church and God and religion is not essential.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, and nobody's pointing that out. It's like, that's a huge problem. Like, you going after the church. The church has been, it's been like slowly been stripped down,
right,
to like nothing.
It's been weak.
And it's been like years, because I remember when they took the church out of school. Like, they said they prayed in school, and
right.
They stopped that.
And they put monsters into the church. They put all these, and I don't believe it's all an accident. I believe that they've infiltrated everything. Evil does that. It's going to put its own people in those places because it helps destroy the good name of Christianity and what faith really is. They have to demoralize you, so they have to make you hate what is right. And so they do it by having these bad actors in the right places, and then you lose all hope. You see all these, like the white guys who are taking knees and laying on the floor and licking boots and washing feet. It's a demoralization tactic. When you see your own police chief as a cop kissing butt and apologizing for nothing, it demoralizes you. It takes the heart out of the police force.
And they're playing off of people's influences. They know that if they see enough people doing something, well, maybe it's me. Maybe I should do it too.
Yeah, they want all white people to start thinking, man, you know what, maybe I should be washing people's feet. I am such a bad person.
Yeah, it only takes one segment on the news. I swear, like, that one segment, it can be the only case in America, and everybody will, it's like a spell. It's like they look at it, oh, I guess it is. Then they start reflecting, then it gets into their head.
Exactly. That's why you got to stay out of your emotions, and you'll start to see all the different ways. Like, this game is complicated. There's a lot of moves happening, but if you stay out of your feelings, you can see it from a mile away.
Yeah, and I can imagine people can really even feel like they lost it. I know it's been 2 months. So I know people have been trapped in the house for like a month or so.
It's been 3 years. Which Bob Marley song is that? It's been 3 years.
But that men's meeting, that's what I'm waiting for.
Say what?
The men's meeting.
Oh, yeah, man. I know. Dude, I was watching today, and Jesse canceled the women's meeting. He's like, oh, I double booked.
He canceled that
He canceled
too?
that. He's like, sorry, I wrote it in the schedule. No meeting this month. It's like, I don't understand. Why not just make it a different day? Like, all right, well, we're going to do next Thursday.
Yeah.
for this month.
We
You
need
know?
we need an emergency meeting.
Exactly. I said that last time. I was like, man, we need this meeting, bro.
Because it's like a lot of men are like just going crazy. It's been like 3 months without that. You know, a lot of people can really go insane without being able to express themselves.
I agree.
So yeah, but I'm glad I got to talk to you guys. I'm gonna let somebody else come on.
All right, man.
All good, man. And hit us up tomorrow, bro.
Yeah, we'll try and do lunch.
Yeah, I'm gonna be there.
Okay.
All right, take care, man.
Later, Manny.
All right, bye guys.
See, he black and he gets it.
See, I have black friends.
We have really cool black friends, man. I'm down with the brothers, man. Don't forget about the brothers.
Yeah, at the end of the day, man, I don't care what color you are. It's about that spirit. It's about that spirit, man. It's about not having anger. It's about seeking the truth and wanting to do right and love what's right. And I notice for myself that I hang around people that love what's right. I don't have to worry about what they think about me. You know, they're not going to judge me for having opinions. They're not going to, turn on me because they disagree with me, because they know they're not God, and they're not going to judge me. They're going to speak up and say the truth because they care about what's right. And that's it.
Exactly. Let's see if there's anything in chat. Black Step says, my fiance is like me. Not really into the Bible, but we agree there is an order to life and there is God.
Yeah, I want to hear more about the chat because I don't get to see it.
It's funny, Skills, it's funny how a lot of whites are mad at Jews, minorities mad at whites, but minorities accept Jews as another victim class. Round and round we go. Yeah, the original victim class. And it's not about, don't focus on the blame game. But just like, we've learned to be aware of the problems in the black community, the weakness in the white community, you gotta be aware of the deception in the Jewish community. It's not all, but good Lord, there's a lot of them in banking, central banking, and media, which is the same media who's pushing this racial divide. So it's very interesting.
And if you notice who you're allowed to criticize as a group, right? Of course, I look at everybody as individuals, first and foremost. But, you go to the FBI stats or anything like that, and everything is categorized in different groups, right? And if you criticize any group, you get kind of, if you're white, you are racist. But white people are the only ones that can be criticized, and it's perfectly fine. So that's what I notice, and a lot of other people notice too.
Yeah, and they want to shame you, saying, you can't talk about that because you hate them. It's like, no, don't fall for that game either. I know plenty of them that they're not in these secret boardroom meetings. They have nothing to do with the decisions that happen at these multimedia companies. But it is a pattern of behavior. I mean, they control the banks.
Yeah.
It's happened in Russia. It happened in Germany.
Observing it and seeing it doesn't mean that you're angry or that you hate it.
Right. It's just you have to be aware of the problems. Be aware of who is serving the wrong spirit, who is dogging your country and dogging your name and dogging your faith, and put an end to it. And that does not mean violence. It just means once you're aware, you won't fall for it because it's the fault of the man who gets into porn. Is it porn controlled by one ethnic demographic overwhelmingly? Yes, but it's your fault as a man for watching it. But
Just
be
like
aware.
It's like if someone brought crack into the communities, that sucks because now there's a higher influence of you doing crack. But at the end of the day, no one made you do crack.
Exactly. Don't blame the CIA, even though they were responsible for bringing it in with Ricky Ross. It's your fault as a black man.
And the
for smoking
CIA
it.
is the Democrats.
Yeah. So that's all. Just be aware and don't take the bait, and that's it. I mean, that's the hard part. You gotta break those spells. If we can break those spells, you wake up, you see it, you cannot get played again. Corn doggers should be illegal. Queen Butterfly. I'm not sure what you mean, but I think we should. Porn should be illegal. I think we should get rid of porn and all that stuff. It's just you gotta. You can't not tolerate those things. They want you to believe that that's an American value. Absolutely not. Don't tolerate what's wrong. That's disgusting. Let's see if I missed anything. So again, if you want to call in, call line is open. 818-308-5559. Let us know what you think. Agree, disagree, got a bone to pick. Skill says, always hilarious when Jesse gets impatient and threatens to fire folks when there's technical difficulties, but he'll spend 5 minutes of airtime asking someone why they late. He black. Unemployment going up. It surely is. It surely is. So is the inflation. Inflation is going up. No, Dane, you cannot call again.
Yeah.
That's a hard agree. No.
Yeah, bro. I mean, I thought you would have taken Jesse's advice.
Yeah.
Call from
Evan Rude. What's up, Evan Rude? Seth.
Hey guys,
How you doing, buddy?
What's up, bro?
I'm doing good. How are you?
All is well.
Winning.
I got everything I need.
So how's everything in Oregon, bro? I saw the news that Portland's been under attack. They're destroying statues, and it's getting out of hand there too.
I know Oregon used to be an amazing place.
Yeah, it is amazing. I live about an hour away from Portland, but I haven't been watching the news. You know, I'm just trying to. I've been hanging out with a lot of friends, helping a friend move. He just sold his house and bought some property, and he has a lot of work to do. And I have a kid, and sometimes I get too worked up about the news, and I have, you know, when you have a kid. And all this stuff to do and working at night. I'll just take a break from the news for a while because it'll stress me out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I know Portland's crazy. My mom works there. I tell her to be safe.
Yeah, no, it's pretty messed up, man. Like they're letting these guys get away with destroying our country. Like when in our history did they allow quote unquote protest to just destroy national monuments across the country?
It's because of the lens they see through. They see it as like you're still a racist and that you're celebrating racism, but really, I see it as a representation of how far we've come, and that history just is what it is. And if we erase history, then that means that we're likely to do it again. And it seems like we are repeating itself because you become what you resent.
Yeah. Yeah, they're definitely erasing history. They're starting with they've already started. The history we have is half erased. And probably half of it's rewritten. You know, lots of history is just messed up. But they're pulling down statues. They're going to be pulling, you know, redoing curriculum. So they'll be teaching kids way different things than you and I learned when we were in school. They already are.
Exactly. And because they're changing and rewriting what's happening in the present moment, you know, the media and everybody, they lie and they skew the truth. That's what opened my eyes to be like, wait a second, this isn't a new idea. You know, like they've probably been doing this with all of history of all time, trying to set the tone and narrative. And that's why it's like history doesn't really matter at all. What matters is our freedoms, being in the present moment, and not having anger. And if everyone realized that, then we would all be aware of our blessings and live our lives in an honest, peaceful way.
Yeah. That's one of the reasons I think the Bible is so amazing. Because, and I know, I'm sure people have tried to mess with the Bible too, but I believe in God, and I have faith that God can keep the message that He wants for His people in His book, if He wanted, you know? So, I just have faith in that, because otherwise, you know, there's nothing really to hold on to. That kind of feels like the only thing for me to hold on to right now. My family is crazy, you know? My mom's crazy. I think my dad is very feminine and makes bracelets. And he's been even having physiological changes lately, like changes in his voice and changes in his weight.
How's your
Almost like
what makes you say your mom's crazy? What's an example that you would say?
I mean, she listens to NPR all day, every day.
She what?
She listens to
She
NPR.
listens to NPR.
It's a public,
National Public Radio.
but it's super leftist. I used to listen to that when I was KPFK and NPR.
But okay, that's cool. She listens to whatever.
I like it because they have interesting music.
But what would you
Sometimes
say?
they'll have.
What would you say she does to you, or like growing up, or whatever, as an example of how she's crazy? What lets you know she's crazy?
I don't know. Her and my dad had an awful relationship. My dad was. I mean, I don't feel like I was abused or anything, but my dad wasn't a good dad. He didn't punish me when he should have. He did punish me where he shouldn't have.
What about your mom, though?
My mom. She never backed up my dad. She wants to be the man. She's a nurse. She's like the breadwinner right now, basically.
Did she ever turn you against your dad? Like, did she complain about your dad or anything like that?
Oh yeah, still
Yeah.
all day, every day, still.
For sure. Yeah, I know. For me, like, I had very similar vibes, and going to these men's meetings and stuff really opened my eyes to see I'm not some special case, and that almost every single guy in there had the same kind of mom, and you know, it was awesome to see that and be like, whoa, it's so true. You know, it's just a thing.
Yeah, I mean, I love my mom, but
yeah, of course,
she's just crazy. She's making a little more sense lately. She's come to me about a few things that she thought I was crazy for saying a few years ago, that she was wrong and she was sorry about it, and I was right.
Yep.
And things about crime and how, like, I really honestly, I mean, it's so tedious and stupid having to say it, but I just feel like you have to, because Satan will try and use emotion, and when you find out, you know, when you're a white person and you just hear the things that you hear about white people all day, and you've gone to public school that taught you how bad white people are, and you see what black people and other people say about you, and you see the crime that's going on that's being totally ignored, and you see the crime that isn't going on, that is magnified and blown up and turned into riots. It can make you mad and hateful. And anyway, I have felt that way before, but I don't feel that way right now. So I feel like I was getting tricked into that, like what is going on, and even everyone of my own race is tricked, and that's really who I'm disgusted with the most. But my mom has even come to me about stuff like that and admitted I was wrong, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah, I understand, man. That the way the world is, and like, I remember, it's like sometimes it tries to get you to feel lonely, like, you know, there's nobody out there that it's you, and at the end of the day, it's like, I'm thankful that I'm not being like, you know, having this suffering going on inside myself anymore. Like I used to have more suffering going on with less trial and tribulations, with less conflict with people. Like it was more like smooth sailing with people, but and I suffered more than all the conflict and people disagreeing with me, losing friends and all that stuff. And I feel less now, and I'm able to just be still and recognize it, and it's pretty weird.
I feel the same way. I totally feel the same way. And I'm pretty lucky. I have two younger brothers.
Yeah.
I'm 27, and I have a brother who's just turned 25 yesterday, and another brother who's 23. And they don't think exactly like I do, but they think a lot more like me than anyone else I know, and they don't think I'm crazy for anything I think, you know, so
Yeah.
Some people are just totally isolated and they have no friends to tell. And they
Yeah.
have no
And
family.
have you had anybody hit you up and be like, "Hey man, is everything okay?"
I don't have any social media accounts.
I had somebody I knew that said that to me. They're like, "Hey Trevor, is everything okay?" And I said, "No, everything's
Yeah.
not. Here's my Venmo. Here's
Yeah,
my Venmo
that's
if you want to donate." They didn't hit me back.
Yeah. Yeah, I was actually calling you guys to maybe ask you some advice. I don't know if you're the guy to ask, but I'm clueless. So
Shoot.
I was thinking I might, based on my overbearing mom and my feminine dad, I might be working with some feminine energy here. And I'm pretty angry. I have a kid, and I'm with her every day. I'm at work right now, but I have her every day, and her mom sleeps with her, so I have to see her mom every day. And I basically, just whenever I see her mom, I get so mad, and just the way she deals with me.
Really? Speak up
Yeah.
there.
It's the way she deals with him. Have you
Sorry,
have you forgiven your mom?
My mom, I think so.
You think so?
Yeah.
I mean, I
did you
feel
go
like I pity my mom a little bit. I don't know if is that not counted forgiveness?
Yeah, I mean, no, because like pity is that you put yourself above, like you're measuring, like forgiveness. I for me, like I can only speak for myself. Was when I had an understanding, when I realized that she couldn't help herself, I acknowledged where she was wrong and was able to, confront her about it and tell her. And when she tried to make excuses, I was like, no, this is the way it was. I was your kid, and I'm explaining my experience in the way you are, and I had to, tell her, like, this is the way it is. And when I did that, and I talked to my dad and told him that he didn't protect me or my sister from that emotional, suffering, and the he didn't stand up. And I know they did their very best, but their very best wasn't perfect. And there's nothing wrong with correcting that. And as soon as I did that, all of a sudden, I started growing into someone that my real identity instead of the ego that I created for myself.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I know everybody has an ego, but and I know everybody's ego can come into play, but I don't know. I don't view myself as good. I don't view myself as like worthy of anything.
Do you see yourself as bad?
Yeah. Like
What?
a rotten soul.
That's part of the problem, though. I mean, when you said you forgave you pitied your mom, have you actually gone to her face to face and told her what she did wrong?
I've told her that. I've done that probably years ago. I told her she raised me in a false religion. She can have no foundation for anything true if her foundation is.
Did you have the same understanding, though, about forgiveness, the way you understand it now? Because doing it years ago, if you did it when you were blind and you weren't quite sure why it was important to forgive, it wouldn't count. Have you done it since you kind of come to understand, like what Jesse talks about and what you've learned about what real forgiveness is? Have you done it since then?
I mean, I guess I might not know exactly what you even mean or what. I haven't listened to a lot of Jesse.
Well, here, how you said that you see yourself as not worthy and that bad. Have you thought about why you feel that way about yourself and who made you feel that way? Who got you to believe that about yourself?
I feel that way because of my sin.
Because of what?
Because of my sin. My daily, habitual sin. And all of my worst sins added up.
Are you continually sinning in those ways?
Yeah, I have addictions. I'm addicted to nicotine, these pouches. It's like chewing, but
I wouldn't trip about that kind of stuff. I smoke this vape, and I know that I don't want to. And
I'm not judging you about
and of course I ultimately don't want to smoke it. but what helps me smoke less of it, or is just that awareness of not being on autopilot, where I'm just, I'm just hitting it, and I want to be like, whoa, I'm hitting it, like, and realize I have control of myself and that I'm doing it, and I quit smoking weed, and I came from an addictive personality in a family too as well. Like, they smoked in the house, and I used to smoke cigarettes and stuff. I don't smoke cigarettes or weed, but that's how I stopped. I didn't tell myself that I needed to stop or that I had to stop, because every time I've ever done that, it set me up for failure, because I'd create an expectation, then I'd never meet it, and then I would judge myself for not meeting it, and it was like an endless spiral of judgment of myself. And so now it's like I realize that as long as I just become more aware of my own actions, like, what's going on, and when I'm doing something, I just see it, and I know, and things will fall away, and I know eventually this will fall away.
Yeah, you gotta just stay
Yeah,
aware.
I don't.
What's that?
Go ahead.
No,
No,
I'm
you're
just
good.
gonna say, just stay aware. Like, I know that feeling when you look at someone like a significant other. I don't have a wife, but I know that feeling when I would look at an ex-girlfriend when I was dating them, or my mother. I know that feeling of just like being annoyed and bothered by them, because maybe you can see how clearly how they're emotional, or they make snide comments or backhanded compliments, But you have to see that they can't help it. Just like the caller earlier, can't help it make these backhanded compliments. You call it out, but you don't take it personal, because they can't stop it. It's not really about you. They're lost and they're suffering, so you don't take it personal. Don't let it touch you.
Yeah, with my kid's mom, she'll do something, like she'll ask me to do her a favor that she wouldn't do for me, then I'll do a favor for her, and then she won't return the favor. Or she'll...
Why do you do the favor?
You know what
Why do you do the favor?
I don't... Because I want to get along with her for my kid's sake.
But see, if you
But
realize
I wish
that,
she
like,
was out of my life completely. I wish I never saw her face. I wish I didn't have to get a text message from her. Where are you going to be? Bring my kid here.
because what's happening is just she knows that she has control over you and that you want that, so she uses it to control you, and you give power to her by wanting everything. Because like that's what happened with my family and my dad. He always just wanted to keep the peace, so he avoided conflict, and he got ran over and walked on all the time. And I think
Well,
that.
so then,
Sorry, what?
when she does this, after I feel like I've really been trying to be nice, then I go crazy mode. Then I go really, really mean, the opposite way.
Yeah, because you're suppressing that. It's an imbalance, because you're stuffing what you really. You're ignoring your gut feeling of knowing you don't want to. If you don't want to do a favor, then don't do it. The only reason why you would is because you want to, and it's because it's the right thing in your mind to do.
Yeah.
But it definitely has to do with that root, I think, of you seeing yourself as, judging yourself. Because you got to realize that you're not God, and that you have no right to judge. And that you only suffer playing God,
Yeah, I'm definitely judging her.
It came from your mom, bro.
Yeah.
My parents judge everything. They're always talking about how something's dirty or trashy or negative or...
But you're just like her.
When you realize, really realize that when you were brought into this world, your identity and your soul was destroyed and recreated. You observed everything that was wrong within your family, and you took on whatever spirit that was in the family, and you've been operating from that identity, and so your real identity is stuffed away, and that identity is of God. It loves what's right, and it's written in your heart. And if you tap into that, which with really overcoming all those things, and looking at it and forgiving and confronting it and telling your parents like it is, which is true, then you'll be able to overcome more things in your life. But I know for myself that it starts with that, overcoming who the first person was that imposed my identity onto me, and it's the house you were raised in.
Yeah. But what if your parents are just so far understand anything I'm saying.
You don't. Your forgiveness is not so that they understand. It's not for them.
Right.
It's for yourself, so you can be free of it.
You're
you know?
expecting things.
You're probably afraid of the outcome and hell you will receive for being honest. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how they feel about it, how they react, as long as you know that it's true for yourself and you get it off your chest and you forgive it, and then God will forgive you and you'll be reborn. I promise you.
You have to be willing to lose everything and let it go.
Exactly.
You can't fear like, oh, I don't want my mom to lose contact or my kid not to have their grandparents. Even if you were married to your wife, a husband should not be in fear of losing her. If she wants to act up and go crazy, let her go. You don't hold her back. You just keep walking in the straight and narrow path. And if she wants to run off into the dark woods and go mess around, well then wish her well and keep walking. So you don't want anything in this world. Not even your own child. Want nothing. Just want to serve God and be and just have that love in you, and that's it. And it'll all come together the way it should.
I'm just wondering if it's worth. I mean, I've told my parents everything I think they did wrong before. I've told them I really appreciate what they did good for me before and what they still do.
Right. Are you telling them because you have an expectation of how you want them to respond? Are you expecting them to forgive you?
No. No, I'm just wondering if it's worth it to like rehash if it's for my sake, can't I just forgive them in my heart? Like, do I have to tell them? I feel like they'll just take offense to that. Like,
well, the thing about it is it's an action. You know what I'm saying? If you just forgive it in your heart, there's nothing that you have to overcome with that. And if you go to them and you take it on like it's a task, there's something about that because, when I did it, I know like when I did that, I was afraid to do it. And when I overcame that fear, because right now it's like you're dreading doing it because you're afraid of it, of how they will react or what they'll think of you or whatever that is. And if you overcome that, then it'll do something to you and you'll get your identity back because it was you who did it. And it wasn't the identity that was imposed into you, because that identity that was imposed onto you is the one that's afraid. And that's the one that has to die. Does that make sense?
Not exactly. I mean, I'm at a point in my life I'm not unwilling to try something I don't completely understand.
Well, I'm not. Don't do it because I said it. You would have to understand it, and I'm only sharing my experience because that's what helped me. That's why I asked if you understood, because I'm not like giving you orders and telling you what you should do or not. But for me, it's like forgiveness happened naturally when I had that understanding and I saw for myself that I was wrong for resenting and judging and playing God, and that my identity that I had was created from the environment I was in growing up. So I had to confront that of what made me that way.
All right, well, I'm not totally lost, I get the gist of what you're saying. I just think I'm missing the last piece.
Just smoke on it, and because again, like Trevor said, you still have your mom's identity, so you're going to tend to overthink. You get in your thoughts about it. You spend too much time chewing on it. It should just be clear. You either see that she could not help it, they could not help mess you up, she couldn't help all her little emotional episodes and when she lost her temper and when she was impatient, or you don't see it. And if you do see it, then it's very clear that she could not help it. And therefore, you realize you couldn't help it when you lost your temper, or when you pity people, or when you get mad at your baby mama. You have to see that. And then it just falls away. You won't get mad because you're like, wow, she can't help it. That's interesting.
So you think once I make a habit of thinking that way, then I will be able to have control.
Not a habit. You just have to see it. It's not a way of thinking. You just see it or you don't.
Yeah, most of the time when you have to think about something, don't do whatever it is you're thinking about. Like, it should come natural to you where you see it like it's like 2 + 2 is 4. And you don't have to think about it. It's just you see it.
Alright, well, maybe I'm just white and dumb, but...
No, you're good, bro.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Don't overthink it. Just simmer on it.
All right.
Well, thanks for
Well,
calling
thanks,
in.
guys.
Yeah, man.
It's good talking to you.
All
Likewise.
right, take care, brother.
Thanks for think about it.
No
Take
problem.
it easy.
Before I lose track, super chat from Lin Chen. Forgiveness
No
is
way.
acceptance and overcoming of incompetence. You are right. It isn't contempt, scorn, or hatred. By the way, Grace K has a lovely forehead. Make great engineering potential because giant robots. And also super chat from Schmitty on behalf of Grace and her big old forehead. He wants to know if you could sing her a song about her big, beautiful forehead.
Grace, I love your face and your forehead until I'm dead. Your forehead. Is that the Gracie I know?
Different Gracie.
The opposite of her toe
White Grace.
is her forehead. Don't know what I'm gonna say next, but I'm sure Gracie from her forehead gets lots of sex. Don't wanna be a beta, beta. Don't wanna be a beta male.
That's for you, Seth.
Don't wanna be a beta, beta male. Yeah, I don't know.
Put no man on a pedestal. Exactly. Nobody is your leader. Not Trump, not Jesse, not me, not Trevor, not yourself, not your dad. Nobody. You have to keep observing. That's it. You know, God is your only leader in life. Because man can let you down. Nice forehead song. Thank you, Queen. Schmitty says, pick your battles wisely. Big forehead gang, gang, gang. Black Victoria.
Black Victoria. Credit solutionist, everybody's using it. She'll fix your credit.
I hope you enjoyed that song, Grace, with the big forehead. That's all for you. She also is gonna meet with talk to Jesse. So
Oh, nice.
people who don't know, you should look out for counseling. It helps. Again, don't put him on a pedestal or anybody. He's just a man. But if you need different opinions, like I think Skill said it, fellowship with people who don't come from anger.
Yeah, and I'll speak for myself. I don't come on this stream so I could boost up my ego and think that I have the answers to everything. And you know, I see it like this: like if I ever get anything new, right? Like even this here revolver, right? What's the point of having anything if you can't share it? And I realize that, you know, I've received a lot from God in my own life with that forgiveness, and you know, I found Jesse, and Jesse led me the right way. But just because I heard Jesse say certain things doesn't mean anything. What matters is that I walked towards it, and I found it for myself to see certain things. And so, you know, I'm not saying stuff because I just want to sound right, like I have the answers. And maybe, you know, I hope the answers or whatever advice I would give, only you know if they're the right answers. And I think too, it makes me think of like, what does God's voice sound like? You know, a lot of people, I feel like these days think that God's voice is a voice, but it's a voiceless voice, and it comes in so many different ways that you might not expect. And it's, for me, I recognize God's voice as a simple knowingness. It's a knowing that is instant, and you could hear it in someone else, something someone else says. It's when you know something is just absolutely true, and it's this light that it's like, it just is a connection. It's that 2 + 2 is 4 in a moment, and it can come so many different ways in your life that, you know, you can see it, you can hear it, you can I don't even know how to. You can't put it into words, but it's just that knowing, you know.
Yeah, you never don't do things. This is never about ego. It's what we love about the men's meeting. It's what we love about Bond. It's just about finding people that you can fellowship with and talk to, and you know, and encourage each other to always operate from love. and not from anger. And you get better at spotting it, seeing yourself, seeing it in others, because it's important that you don't fall for that trap, because it could be what you think is your best friend, and they're undermining you because you don't have the vision, you don't have that faith to let you see what spirit they're operating from. So it's really important. I mean, your life in a way depends on it. Either you wake up or you die.
You don't wake up until you die.
Yeah, till that ego, like you said, let that identity that is not yours die all the way. There's no halfway.
It's like you're born, right? And you are innocent. You know, there's no baby that's born guilty. But you're born and you're innocent, right? And you have your identity and your soul. And then the world, your parents, they come like vampires and they bite you, right? And they kill that identity, they destroy it, and then you die. And then you're recreated as a vampire yourself. And you become what you resent. And so you grow up thinking that, you're you, but it's really this identity that you've inherited and that was imposed on you from all the influences in your life. And then when you wake up and later on in life, if you do, and you might not, I mean, if you're here and you're hanging out and wanting to talk and you're seeking, the chances are you might. Then you could die again and get your real identity back. And then that ego identity that was imposed by the world falls away. And you grow back into who you are. And I think especially men, that's what's important, is overcoming that feminine, emotional, sensitive spirit that was imposed from mom, so that you can overcome that and get into knowing what a man is and what manhood is. Because there's not really that many examples out there.
Almost none. Not even the little glimpses you see in your father. I could see it, but you can't be halfway. Just like there's no such thing as halfway crooks. There's no such thing as a halfway man. You either are or you are not.
You could be trans.
You could be trans. There's a funny, when someone said, pick your battles wisely, T said, pick your battles wisely. That's what Stacey Abrams whispered under her breath to the people next to her at the buffet when there was only one drumstick left.
Man, I usually don't like buffets, but I remember when I went to Vegas, they got some decent buffets there for like $25, $30. I'm starving right now.
Yeah, don't go to Sizzlers. Overrated.
Yeah.
Overrated.
And never get a steak.
But yeah, I mean, I think, unless there's maybe one last caller. Anyone else want to call? Grace, if you want to call in. First timer, 818-308-5559. Maybe one of the ladies. 308-5559. Oh look, we got a troll. None of your damn business. Y'all are gross. That's all. The words coming out your mouth. Don't know how you ended up on my feed, but F out of here with your blanketed criticism of blacks, and you look like you smell. I'm out. You're just like your mama, Nunya.
See, that's an example of someone's like, I gotta get the last word in. I gotta criticize your personality, your character, and then I gotta go. I'm out. I can't take any backlash from what I said. Like you're not seeking to understand. You just like to judge.
That's it.
And a lot of people are addicted to judgment. They follow people on social media because they enjoy judging them. They like making themselves and that identity feel like they're better than. So they need to keep people around that they can judge so that they're constantly feeding it.
They're like Jerry Springer guests. They got nothing to say. They think they sound all cool and they just slammed on you with that little comment. That's such a weak little comment.
And thank God I'm not fazed by any of that stuff. There's nothing that someone can say that's gonna make me feel some kind of way. And especially I'm not gonna hate somebody for it. Because that's the real virus, is the anger. It wants to bite you like that vampire, and then you'll become angry too, and then you go hurt other people. That's what it does. It's vampire-isms.
Exactly. So, let's see. Kansas City, Missouri. Let's see who it is. If you don't put a name in the voicemail thing, I ain't gonna pick up. Let's leave it open for another person, Marty.
We already talked to Marty.
So, let me see. Okay. I bet your voice is fine as your face. Yeah, no, they can't help it. Oh, Kevin, that was you? Sorry, Kevin, from Chicago.
Give it care.
You'll be the last one, Kevin. Give it a call back. My bad. But leave your when it's asked for your name, say your name, so I know if you're one of these trolls like none of your damn business or you're actually legit.
Say your name when no one is around you. Say, baby, I love you if you ain't wrong again. Some type of way, make me feel some type of way. It's a scrub, ba-da-ba, and you're red on my face. I don't know where you are.
Does Kevin
from? On the phone, call me up.
What's up, Kevin? 1 second.
If it can't go come my way.
Welcome, Kevin. You're on the air.
I just got a quick question for you guys.
Yes, sir.
Last time I checked, it's illegal to destroy public property,
Yeah.
and vandalism is against the law.
Right.
Well, last time I checked too, yeah, that's true. But apparently these days it's acceptable if you are a leftist.
That's what it seems like, and the cops really just don't enforce that law anymore. I guess they leave it to vigilante groups and other people that citizens have to go in and enforce these laws. And then when they do, they go there and try to enforce them and not allow terrorists to destroy public property, and they get attacked and use self-defense. The mayor says, and the sheriff, they say they're going to do everything in their power they're working with the FBI to prosecute this guy and look into the matters, because they all came out and condemned these people.
Right.
And all the shooting was ridiculous. You see the way they're framing it. The dude's already in the hole.
Right.
They're already framing him as an agitator or like a provocateur or a instigator.
Right. They
He
chased
wasn't
him down.
Yeah, I mean, it was self-defense. The dudes, they're all coming at him, attacking him, had a weapon, and so it's self-defense.
Yeah, there was a still frame. I was saying earlier in the stream. One of the Antifa kids in that whole group of the pack yelling, "We're gonna kill you." One of them had a knife. The other guy had already struck him with a skateboard with the metal portion called the trucks. And there was about 4 to 6 people, and the mob would have only grown, trying to beat this guy on the ground. And
Hopefully this guy gets a good lawyer and is able to fight this, because we need examples out there that are willing to fight this type of thing, because in so many different ways I'm seeing you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. Just like the whole BLM movement, that phrase saying that Black Lives Matter is insinuating that they don't. And if you say that anything else matters, then you're going against it and you're saying that Black lives don't matter. And like as a white man, they say, it's like, well, you can't speak on anything about Black lives because you don't know what it's like to be black. And so if you don't speak on it, then you're damned because you're silent and you're not the ally. And it's just pigeonholing you to be screwed. Like, there's nothing you can do but do what they want you to do, and that's be controlled.
Yeah, they're trying to set a precedent. They're trying to nip it in the bud. They want people to, if anybody goes out there and tries to defend monuments, defend history, they're going to prosecute you with the fullest extent of the law.
Exactly.
Just like they did with James Field in Charlottesville.
Exactly.
Same thing with the
before. That's a great example.
He got 400 years. 400 years in jail they threw at him.
That's wild, man.
You see what they're trying to do.
Did you see in that footage from Charlottesville? So for people who aren't familiar with Charlottesville, that was where they had the Richard Spencer kind of types, a bunch of white men who peacefully protested, carrying torches and saying, the Jews will not replace us. Doesn't matter what they were saying, but the point is they were not being violent. And then either the police chief or the mayor of Charlottesville told their police force to stand down, and then it allowed for the leftists to start attacking with no police protection to intervene. And then James Field was in a car, and there is footage and still frames showing that the protesters that were surrounding his car, at least one of them had a weapon. It looked like a gun. Not to mention the fact they're beating his windows in, trying to pull him out of that car like we've seen with the recent riots. So what did he do? He panicked to save his life, drove forward, rammed them, drove back until he could get the hell out of there. And unfortunately, it ended up killing somebody, but who's at fault when they're attacking him? He did not go to them and start ramming right away. And that boy is now doing 400 years in prison. He's gone for the rest of his life over the actions of crazy leftist insurgents.
Yep, and this is how they do it. They send a message. They send a warning. They're you want to do that, and you're gonna get 400 years in prison. And I guarantee this other guy in New Mexico, he's gonna get raked over the coals. He's gonna be sent to prison for a long time. And it's gonna send a message to anybody else that you want to go do this thing and do the right thing, standing up for what you think is right. You're going to get. We're gonna throw you in prison. We're gonna throw you in a cage for a very long time. So I don't know, man. We're in some deep water. Well, we gotta find a way out.
Yeah, that's why my advice is you have to remember, you got to fight honorably. You don't go looking for trouble. Unfortunately, they made it clear they're not going to take our backs. Like you said, they'll use the entire weight of the law to prosecute us. So if you're going to defend something, it better be your home, it better be your family, and it better be because they've cornered you and there's no way out, and that's all you can do. So that way, we know they're going to lie in the media, we know they're going to frame it a certain way, but at the very least, you've covered your butt and you didn't go looking for trouble. And that's all we can do because they're trying to bait us into another Charlottesville. That's why they're letting them destroy these monuments. They're trying to get us angry, and by being angry, we will make a mistake because we're going to serve the wrong spirit.
Exactly. I mean, if the police just did their job and went there and protected public property and didn't let it get destroyed, because don't act like the police don't know what's going on. They know they're going there and destroying public property. They put it all over social media when they're going to meet up, how everybody meet up here, and they go there. It's like a little celebration of Antifa nut jobs. They could go there, break it up, and arrest people, but they allow them to do it. And what happened? Someone got shot, almost killed. I'm not sure. Did he get killed? Did that guy die?
Exactly. It's terrible, man.
Did you know that?
Oh, what? What was the question?
Did the guy get killed? Did he shot?
Oh, I don't know, to be honest.
I don't know,
But if he did die, then he deserved it because they brought it on themselves.
they brought it on themselves, self-defense. And another thing these people do, they like to block your path. They put your back against you and stand in front of you, and if you try to move out of the way, I'm not sure the laws on that, but that seems like illegal to get in someone's face, stand right in front of them, and if you try to move out of the way and get out of their way, they'll go right in front of you again and get in your face. Like, I'm pretty sure that's assault.
Yeah, I think at the very least it could be kidnapping, because I know that kidnapping is basically whenever you prevent the freedom of someone's movement. Doesn't matter where. Even if you were to keep someone in your bedroom or your living room and prevent them from leaving, that's technically kidnapping. Even if you haven't taped them or tied them up or anything, you're preventing the freedom of their movement.
Yeah, because I see that technique a lot. They like to get in people's faces, block them so they can't move, and it's like they're just like shoving them. They're kind of just blocking their freedom of movement, and oh man, it's messed up. But I don't know. I just wanted to get your guys' thoughts on that. The way the police are just letting them run rampant, which results in more violence.
Right.
And then whenever someone tries to stand up and do what's right, they come down on the people defending public property. It's absolutely insane. But I'll leave you guys to it. Thanks for taking my call.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
You got it. You and Trevor, take it easy.
Take care, bro.
I think we're going to end it with that. That was a decent stream. Thanks for all the amazing super chats. Catherine, Schmitty, Lin Chen.
Schmitty.
I can't even think of all the other ones. All the
Thank
callers.
you, Schmitty. Super chats I never. Schmitty.
Any closing remarks for tonight?
I don't know, man. I don't know. Stop the hate, man. Don't hate. It's like I don't want to find myself sounding like I'm trying to preach or anything like that. I want people to understand where I'm coming from with myself. There's a conflict that's going on within ourselves. It's not from the outside. It's from the inside. And nothing in our environment, from people or situations, there's no problems with situations. When we hit those situations, we got to walk into the uncomfortableness instead of running away and trying to, get in our thoughts about it. That's what I realized for myself is I don't want to overthink something. And if I don't know what to do in a situation, I'll do nothing until it's revealed for me to see what to do. and life is good, man.
Yeah, I mean, we're hitting. The ride's getting a lot bumpier, and with every day that passes, and we see them, you know, basically giving the official stamp of approval to continue to destroy our monuments, our heritage, our history, and at the same time demonizing white people in the media. The only thing you can do is to, you know, overcome that anger, because you're gonna miss all the revelations that will help you out of this mess. If there is a way out, it's by overcoming the anger. And it doesn't mean that you will be a pushover. You'll know when to stand up, when to fight back, when to defend yourself, and when not to. When to run even. But you gotta get right first, because you're gonna miss the signs, and you don't want to give them the ammunition that they're dying for to bury you. Whether it's to prosecute you, like that poor guy who just had to defend himself, and now he's facing who knows how many years in prison. Or like James Field, 400 years. 400 years. Don't let them take your life away from you. So overcome it, stand up, and wait for the revelations. They'll come. Good night, guys.
Yeah, thank you guys for the shares, the likes and the comments, the thumbs up, and the super chats.
And the foreheads, all the big foreheads out there.
Exactly. Pros and cons. The world blames dad when it's really your mom.
Good night, guys.